Alrighty, everyone. Good evening and happy Wednesday to everybody out there, and welcome to the first episode of Backlog Battlin. And joining me today is Mr. Nerdy Neo.
Good evening, Carl. Good to be here and talk some more games with you.
Yes, indeed. And it's a beautiful day to sit down and do all this stuff. Over here, it's at least kind of rainy and above freezing for once, so it's kind of nice over here. At least I would say nice is a relative term, though.
Yeah, for here, it has not been nice for by our standards. It's been about 2 weeks since we've seen the sun. It doesn't look like we'll be seeing it for another week. It hasn't rained or it never snows here, but it hasn't rained. It's just been cloudy. It's like normally it's just gets cold, but it's clear. But it's been very cloudy for the last couple of weeks. So, yeah, it is a nice day to be inside and talk video games.
Yes, indeed. I've been sick as a dog. It feels like these past 3 weeks for sure. And yesterday I took off of work because I had both my ears were clogged and everything was a nightmare.
Oh, hope you're feeling better today.
I should be. I've been taking antibiotics, so I feel better. I can actually breathe out my nose, so that's already a sign of an improvement.
Oh, good news.
Yes. We'll see how long that holds up tonight when I go to sleep and wake up and start all over again from its nightmare cycle. But for anyone who doesn't know what the show is, this is basically going to be a weekly what are we playing in greater detail video where we sit down and we talk about the video games we're playing. I will put up video footage from our streams and other YouTubers out there so people can kind of see a little bit of the video games in action. And of course, we will sit down and talk about them more in great detail and so on and so forth. And if you, in case you're wondering, you can always look in the show notes and you'll see what 5 games we are talking about in the show notes. So, Neil, why don't you start off by talking about your thoughts? Not necessarily about the games, but what would you like to add to this conversation first?
Yeah, so it's I did a my monthly episode of Achievement Chasers with Dude last week, and I mentioned that that you and I are starting this week. And he's like, it's kind of the same thing that we do. I'm like, it's similar, but whereas Achievement Chasers, Dude and I talk about more so like, what it takes to, what we went through to earn the achievements and how difficult they were, stuff like that. We don't really talk much about the gameplay or the story of the game. So this is going to be talking more about the gameplay and how it plays, what went into the game, the music, the controls, more stuff like that rather than the focus on the achievement. So it's good to kind of, for me, to have a balance where I have one stream where we talk about just the achievement side of video games. Then we have another stream here where we talk about the everything else that makes up the game.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to sit down and we always do like the what are you playing, and then you kind of get into your rigmarole, you quickly get through it, and it just feels like more of a side piece. And I kind of feel like it's just fun to dedicate some time to talking about like what games are we actually playing in more detail and give it more than just like 5 minutes and then okay, let's go on to the first topic of the show and stuff like that.
I love that because when I first started my channel, some streams that I would regularly watch, they would like end their stream with, hey, go around the panel and just what are you playing? Just basically just mention the game that you're playing, not talk about it at all. That was one of the things I wanted to do on Party Chat was go into a little bit more detail on what we've been playing. And this is great because it's an entire stream dedicated solely to that.
Yeah, exactly. And, you and I and like pretty much a lot of our friends, for the most part, they play so many games. We stream from time to time gameplays that we're playing. You do it pretty much every Monday when you can. And, I do it when I feel like it. And then, other friends, they like hop on when they can. Other friends out there, they pretty much stick to like one game sometimes for like a month or two. And, generally speaking, like, we're not only are we doing like a video game challenge, but even after the challenge is done, it's like, what are we going to do? We're still going to keep playing these video games, and the whole joke about it is like, we're battling the backlog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been thinking about when the challenge is over, I'm still going to be like posting like my completions and stuff in in the channel in your Discord.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm still, because I had plans to get through like so many like franchises because the bonus points for multiple games of franchise that I didn't get to like almost any of them. I'm still going to do that. So I'm glad that kind of even if I didn't get through them in time for our challenge, I'm still going to do that, basically playing a bunch of these franchises from the beginning all the way to the end.
Yeah, and like I said, this show is going to definitely take off more next year. Neon and I talked about it relatively before we even started. He's like, "Do you just want to wait till next year?" I'm like, "Oh, how about we just kind of get it done?" You know what I mean? Like, let's just get started. Let's get the feel out process. Let's kind of get a couple shows on the books, take a couple weeks off, and then kind of get back into it. Once everything's in the swing of things, we'll be ready to go.
Yes.
And then it's just like from here, it's like you said, we're still gonna basically be doing like I'm still gonna post in a Discord. I'll just make a new one for like the 2026 games you beat list. So that way, yeah, I know Canadian and other people. I'll be like, it's open to everyone. Just post the games that you beat in here, and also you can kind of compare with like what you beat last year. Kind of keep like a like an archive thread, kind of keep going, and also these shows will serve that purpose as well.
Yeah, you got me. It's because of you that I both now use Fuse and Game Shelf, and I created lists on both for all the games that I beat over the course of the year. So I have like an actual list somewhere that's public that someone can see. Because my main platform is Xbox, but one thing that's great about those is that they're platform agnostic, so I can log all the games I played regardless of what platform they're on.
Right, exactly, and that's kind of like a concept with a lot of these shows that I listen to for my gaming news. Is I learn a lot about gaming, I'll learn about news, but I don't really necessarily always hear what these people are playing. So I figured with all these shows that I've been doing, I kind of want to keep to a schedule, kind of do like what probably next Sunday after all the streaming is done for the year, I might just do like a state of the podcast, kind of like what I suggested you do, with a state of the nerd and stuff like that.
Yeah, I haven't done an open mic in a while, so I need to do a state of the nerd, as you so eloquently named it for me.
So like, yeah, that's basically what this show is going to be. It's going to be hardcore dedicated just to talking about reviewing games and stuff like that. I heard someone growl. Did you hear that?
I did.
All right. I know who that is. It's this little bastard. One of my dogs wanted to get in on the show. But getting back on track, basically, like I said, this is going to be just really hardcore dedicated. We're going to try to do at least 5 games every week. At like maximum, some weeks are not probably going to be like that depending on what we're playing, but yeah, I got 10 games lined up here. So if I didn't mention this before, I'll say it again. We will be showing gameplay so you can see it while we talk about it and have our opinions. And Genguro, I'm not sure if I know who this is. Is this one of your followers?
I don't know that I've seen that name before, but hello and good evening.
Yes, hello. I'm playing OG Doom with the Brutal Doom mod. Good stuff. That's really cool, man. Doom, I think, is one of those video games I always say is like the pinnacle of gaming,
I'm not going to be talking about it tonight, but because this is our first episode, because, going forward, it's going to be kind of talking about what we played over the course of the last week. But since this is the first episode, I'm going a little bit farther back than a week. So some of the stuff that I played more recently, I'm going to talk about next week. But Doom is one of those, the original Doom.
Right on. Yeah, I thought about that too, because I was like, okay, what do I want to talk about? Like, is it going to be like the 5 like games I played recently? Because, I guess let's go with some honorable mentions that we're not going to go in depth about. Like say for example, like I got the platinum trophy for Mass Effect just recently. I beat Fuga 2 and all that stuff. I started playing some handheld stuff. I'm deep into Pokemon Heart Gold right now too, but I haven't really like been playing those like as deeply as some of these other games that we're going to talk about. So I kind of kept it to the ones that I'm kind of playing either daily or I have been like hardcore invested in or I just got into.
Yeah, so some of the other ones that I'll talk about next week are ones that I've been playing over a longer period of time. But yeah, so okay. Oh, okay. So that's Fallen Angel. Well, hello, Fallen Angel. I didn't know that you had a name change, so I will make a mental note of that.
Hello, and welcome to the stream.
And good to see you too, Canadian. Johnny come lately. Yo. I don't know what that's a reference to.
I said you're running late.
Oh, okay. Oh, you must have said that before the recent that picked it up.
He was like, aren't you streaming? I'm like, yeah, I'm waiting on you. But it's okay. We're all good here now. So, Neo, who do you want to go first? You or me?
I would say since it's your show, why don't you kick it off, at least for the first episode?
All right, all right. We don't have to go in numerical order for what I got them listed out down below. I just kind of typed them in and had them kind of go there. So the first one I will start off with then will be Dave the Diver over here. Let me bring up the gameplay footage. So this is from my stream that I did, and we'll get this started. So recently, I want to say last week, or I think Thanksgiving week, I can't remember off the top of my head exactly, Dave the Diver finally came to the Xbox platform. And I've been so happy and so excited about that. So one thing that I've been kind of doing is now that I have, say, for example, the Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, and I have to do kind of like the daily routine where you play like 15 to 30 minutes on your console or 15 to 30 minutes on your PC to get your points. Dave the Diver's kind of been my go-to, just play on my console type of game and just kind of move on and do all that stuff. But this game is still fucking good, man. One of the things I love about Dave the Diver is that this game is just everything. Like I don't know how to explain it more than that. It's just like it's like a sushi making sim, it's a farming sim, it's a diving sim, and then like the more you play, like the more that the team at Minty Rocket just adds. Sorry, my dogs are being weird for some reason. But when I first played this game back in 2023, I remember the first time I saw it was actually at a Nintendo Direct, believe it or not. And I want to say it was like the summertime Direct. And I just remember looking at this thing, and it's just like you see this like big, dopey little fat guy just kind of like, on this like stage, like diving around, like as you can see right here, he's like just you shoot at fish, and like you just do all this stuff, and then it has like these over the top like cutscenes of the chef over there that's just going around and just like chopping up these sushi and like getting really into it and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well this looks interesting to me. So I remember I bought it, and after I bought it, I became like super obsessed with this game. Like this is like the perfect if you have like a Steam Deck or a ROG Ally or a Switch. Like this is one of those like perfect games where you just like sit down and like you just play like 10-15 minutes, do your like daily actions to get your fish and everything, and then you can kind of get on with your day too. As I like to call it, this is like a perfect game if you're a busy parent.
Yeah, I was gonna you answer my question, but yeah, I was gonna ask like at what point were you hooked on this game? Was it just the marketing and you couldn't wait to play it, or so once you actually played it, that's when it really speared you and hooked you in, like Dave the Diver does.
So when I first saw like the commercials and everything for that, I was like, this looks interesting, and like everyone like. I would say like nobody was like really talking about this game per se in like our groups and circles. I think I was like the first person to really kind of hammer that out there with everyone. And I think it was like a Black Friday sale or something. And I just saw it and I was like, yeah, let's go pick this up and like finally give it a try because like I've been, working on trying to get one of those. Like fun Steam Deck games, I guess you could say, to kind of go in between like where I'm at and like in my bed and just like on my little dock that I have for my Steam Deck. And I like they said, this game just had me like super hooked, I mean like super hooked. I couldn't stop playing it. I couldn't put this game down. I couldn't just I was like so obsessed with it. And my job was making me work like Thanksgiving, not Thanksgiving. It was making me work Black Friday. It was making me work on New Year's, and this was like my game that I was just playing. Like I would be like have the football game on in the background, and I'd just be sitting there playing it. And yeah, you look like you were about to say something.
Oh, I was going to ask when you first got into it, what were you playing it on your Steam Deck?
Yeah, on my Steam Deck.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I say like this is like the perfect handheld game, but it translates over to console really well. I've played it on PlayStation 5, and I've played it on Switch,
I
and
was just
now
gonna say, I would assume this is on Switch as well, right?
yeah, this actually launched on a Switch
Oh
and
yeah, you said you
PC.
saw it on the Nintendo Direct, so of course it's on Switch.
Yeah, and then last year came to PlayStation 5, and then this year came to Xbox, obviously.
Quick shout out to my buddy Wild West '08. I haven't talked to him in a while, but he was on my open mic a while back. He was the first person on Xbox to get all the achievements in Dave the Diver.
No kidding.
Yeah. So shout out to Wild West '08.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, actually. Yeah, this, like I said, this game is like a very chill, relaxing type of game. It made at like first, but like all it keeps like growing and becoming more insane. Like there's a really interesting storyline where you talk to about these people called like the Sea People. I guess you could. That's what they're called. So they're basically mermaids. That's the best way to say. And then there's like this weird overarching plot that kind of goes with it, where you have to like protect people, like save dolphins, and also fight like the equivalent of like Greenpeace, in this game.
Okay.
And I don't want to super spoiler it because I've done like plenty of spoiler casts and I've talked about it a lot. But I feel like if you're just seeing this for the first time, like they've done like amazing DLC crossovers. So like the one that's playing right now in the background, like eventually you get to like get a Godzilla crossover. They did a crossover with Balatro. They did a crossover with like Mushroom Mancer or something like that, or I can't remember, but it's like a mushroom alchemy kind of game. There's also one that is a crossover with Dredge. Have you ever played Dredge?
I've played a little bit of it, just like the first couple minutes to get the first achievement. I actually just played it, and that was when I dived it back in like May. But I actually just played it for a couple more minutes to get one more achievement just a couple days ago. But I have not played it, more than like I got the achievement for completing the introductory quest, so that's about as far as I've gotten.
Yeah, so like they do a crossover with Dredge where it's like a full little mini game of Dredge inside of here. And like you can actually do some night diving and get the like messed up Cthulhu fish from Dredge in this game. And then you got to like serve them up as sushi to a bunch of like Cthulhu like cultists and stuff like that.
Yeah,
And
Dredge is like the perfect game for a crossover with this.
yeah, and ironically enough, they also had another paid DLC for this one, and it was Ichiban's Vacation. And for people who don't know who Ichiban is, he
That's
is the
Yakuza, right?
that's Yakuza. Yes, so they actually have like a Yakuza crossover as well that has a little spin-over where they become like a side-scrolling beat 'em up brawler in the vein of like say Streets of Rage and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I'll say this, like this game just like keeps blowing like you away. Like if you haven't played this game and you're gonna be like just surprised at how like deep you're going to get. Like this
Pun
game
intended, right?
exactly, pun intended. But like there's like boss fights, like you fight these giant insane creatures. They got like the game like will like change genres mid level, and the best way I could say is like jack of all trades, master of none. But the problem is like they do everything so well that what game it kind of reminds me of in that aspect? Split Fiction.
Okay.
So it's like these devs like they made these really well polished, very fine tuned mechanics that only like exist for like a certain level, but like they do it so well, and they're just having fun. Like you can just totally tell that these devs are just having fun. They don't take anything seriously. They kind of are just making fun of Dave. Like there's a lot of times where people just like when you run into to see people, they're like, "Ah, I thought that was a fat blue manatee," and Dave's like, just gives you that look, like, "What the fuck, man? I'm right here," But also, it's just a fun underwater like simulator too. Just like how deep they get into like the ocean lore and stuff like that. As a kid who wanted to be a marine biologist when he grew up, but he was terrible at math, so that dream died really quickly. It is, one of my favorite like genres out there to just always be underwater and looking at stuff and going like, oh, I know these sharks or something like that. And like they even get into like hardcore like nerd levels of like into sharks and stuff like that, where it's like, oh, here's like a dog shark. Oh, here's like a spiny like Mega Mouse Shark, or they even get to like prehistoric animals too that were like long dead, but like it's like a fun little like minor spoiler there. Like you'll fight like megalodons and stuff like that. It's pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, Neo, did you have to want to ask any more questions before I kind of move on to a different point about this game?
Just talking about the DLC, another game that I am a huge. I probably like this game I'm about to mention as much as you like Dave the Diver, and is also an underwater game. Would also make for a great crossover, and that is Subnautica, which I just replayed again and finished last week.
Yeah.
Which I'm not gonna be talking about that tonight, but I love that game. That would make another game for a great crossover with this.
Yeah, I could see that. Yeah, and the art style of this game is like very pixel art style, like kind of reminds you of that like 16-bit, 8-bit era kind of a little bit too, which I do enjoy, and I think it looks gorgeous. One thing about this game that I truly do enjoy though is the soundtrack. I honestly think that this is one of the like best OSTs and just kind of like chill soundtracks out there. If you haven't seen this or heard it yet, I highly recommend it to kind of go listen to. I think our friend Smoove actually did a kind of couple covers to that, so should definitely go check it out and listen. And AC says, Carl talking about Dave the Diver for 3 years now. Yeah, and I won't stop, damn it.
Yeah, I'm one of the people that you gifted to. I haven't played it yet, but I'm gonna be doing that pretty early in probably next year.
Yeah, how much do I believe in this game? I've gifted this game to like 20 people.
So I'm going to be doing. I mentioned it to you. I haven't mentioned anywhere else yet, but I'm going to be starting a new semi-regular stream, and the plan is to start with Dave the Diver.
Yes, right on. But overall, like I said, this game, A+ kind of game. Highly recommend checking it out. It's on everything. It goes on sale quite often. The DLC is not that expensive, and we're talking about roughly like $20 max to like $11. It goes on sale for quite often.
Another thing I wanted to ask you, because on Xbox it's $20 full price.
Yeah.
I remember when on Steam you told me, "Hey, go and get this DLC before it gets delisted." Do you happen to know if that DLC is on or is still available on any of the other platforms?
Yeah, they re-brought it back. I don't know if it's timed. I think I'm in the Dave the Diver Discord, and I think they said they worked out the license problems with that now.
Okay.
But I would never just take a chance. Most of the DLC that we're talking about is free. The only one that isn't is the Ichiban DLC.
Okay, because at least on Xbox, it doesn't list any since there's no additional achievements. But yeah, I was just curious if you happen to know about the DLC on other platforms.
Yeah. No, I think they fixed it, and I know all the DLC is on Xbox as well because I did buy all that and download all that once too. So
Good to know.
When you play the game, when you go to save it, there'll be like symbols on there to tell you which DLCs you have on there. So there'll be a little Godzilla symbol for the Godzilla DLC. There'll be like a little Dredge symbol and a Yakuza symbol on your save file to let you know that they're installed. So if you're confused or if you didn't know if they were on there, that's how you know. Also, a couple more Dave the Diver news that I kind of found out recently. There is this free upgrade if you own it on Switch to Switch 2. And I forget the company, but they said they are going to be doing physical copies with maybe a collector's edition for all the physical collectors out there.
Nice.
So that's all I really have to say about Dave the Diver. I've talked about it enough to death to kind of satisfy, my own, proclivities, I guess you could say. Do you have anything more you'd like to add, Neo, before we move on to you?
Just that I'm sorry you gifted it to me so long ago and I still haven't played it yet.
That's okay. Everyone plays games at their own pace. But all I know is this. Ask Angry Canadian. Ask everyone else that I've gifted this game to who's played it. Everyone's loved this game. So I don't think anyone so far has ever said they hated this game.
So I want to call you by what your display name is now, Euro, but Fallen Angels definitely much easier. But he says, no, wait, Carl's got more to say about it.
Yeah, exactly. I could talk about it for hours. All right, then. I think that's enough for about David Diver. Go check it out. Like I said, A+ game, amazing audio, great gameplay. Always will keep you surprised, guessing, and you'll love it. Like I said, I've not met anyone that said that they've hated it yet, and DLC's coming out pretty soon too next year. So I'm super excited about that. So more Dave news will be coming in the future. Don't you worry.
You're,
Neat.
you'll you'll hear
No.
it right here from Carl. Get all your Dave the Diver news as soon as it's available.
Exactly. You'll hear plenty. I won't shut up about it, especially if I like it. Alrighty. Neo, your first game. Which one would you like to go with the roulette table?
All right, so I didn't even realize that you had already put the games in the stream description until you started talking about Dave the Diver. But I am going to go in the order that I wrote them. I think you put them in there in that same order as well. But
Yeah.
I'm kind of going from the farthest back to the most recent, and so I am starting with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which I have. Well, I have beaten it now as of last week. Yes, I finished it. No, it was the week before last. I finished it, but I was doing it for Metroidvania Monday. Every Monday over the course of it took me, I think, 8 streams, maybe 9 streams to complete it. But so this game came out in January of 24, so early last year. It might have been early February. So, but it's pretty recent, and it's published by Ubisoft, and a lot of people have given a lot of crap to Ubisoft, but this was a fantastic freaking game. It sucks that they made such a good game, and they're also putting out stuff like Star Wars Outlaws and what was the other? I think there was another big Ubisoft flop last year or early this year as well. Oh, no, that was a different one. But anyways, because of their like AAA releases, everyone's like, oh, Ubisoft is terrible. But then they put out these little ones that most people don't even like pay attention to. And it's like top tier, high quality stuff. And then immediately after it came out, it didn't have like any sales, which is a disappointment. And the studio basically got, I don't know the details of it, but essentially the studio is shut down. So it's very unlikely we'll see a Prince Persia Lost Crown 2, which is a huge bummer because I played the demo for this on a stream probably, let's see here. I started my channel in 2023, right? Yeah. So I don't remember when it was, but one of my early Metroidvania Monday streams, I think it was one of my early Metroidvania Monday streams, I played the demo for this, and I thought the demo was fantastic, but I didn't actually play it until just a couple months ago. But everyone that I had talked to that had played it just absolutely loved it and could not stop gushing about it. And I was like, I sure hope it lives up to those expectations, because me being a huge Metroidvania fan, that's basically the same thing everyone does with Hollow Knight. They can't stop slobbing all over its knob, and I'm not a fan of Hollow Knight. So I was cautiously optimistic, but I played the demo on stream, and I was very excited to play it. So after I got through getting through all the Metroid games on Metroidvania Monday, I was like, the first game I'm playing after that is Prince of Persia Lost Crown. I've heard nothing great things. And so I did that now. And I had some technical difficulties with my streams that had nothing to do with the game. That had to do with I've had computer issues lately. But anyways, yeah, the game is, like I said, it is phenomenal. It's top tier. I had to go and readjust my top 5 Metroidvanias of all time because of this game. It is that good.
Yeah, it looks very fluid from what I'm seeing right now. How was the performance?
Oh, it is buttery smooth. It is not like crazy stupid fast paced, with the exception of my number one issue with the game was there was one specific boss fight that I did not feel was fair because he was just like stupid fast. There was, and one of the abilities that would negate that you actually get later in the game after you beat him. So I felt the difficulty was fair with the exception of that one boss. But yeah, the game, the platforming is top notch. The combat is great. It is just so smooth. And one thing that, I mention a lot when talking about Metroidvanias is a lot of Metroidvanias we see a lot of them are like pixel art and stuff, which I got nothing against pixel art games. Just there are so many pixel art Metroidvanias out there. So anytime one that is not that is 2D and is not pixel art is almost always a huge bonus in my book. Like one of my top fives is Shadow Complex, and that kind of falls in the same category where it's 2 or 2.5D, but is not pixel art. And so that was Shadow Complex was a 360 Xbox Live Arcade game, and it feels like it, but it's still a fantastic game. This one feels like a top-notch, AAA banger of a game, and it is so great. Not a gripe of the game, just like a personal, not even critique, but just a personal preference thing is, in Metroidvanias like this, double jump is almost always an item in the game. A lot of more recent ones, you actually start out with double jump. You don't have to acquire it, but that's a pretty foundational element of 2D Metroidvanias, and usually that's a very basic function, and you get it very early in the game. Double jump is like one of the last abilities you get in this game. You get it very late in the game, so it's still a great game. That was just like it was kind of frustrating going through the game, and when the heck do I ever get double jump? And it wasn't until very late in the game, but it had some cool unique abilities that I haven't seen in other games. Obviously it's got some other features or abilities that you do see in a lot of other Metroidvanias, but it has some cool unique features that you have, at least I haven't seen either anywhere or I've rarely seen. So it's always nice to see some new abilities that aren't just so cookie cutter in a Metroidvania as well. And there was some really cool, like almost all the boss fights were like I said, with the exception of that one boss fight, which it was very cinematic. Like the boss fights are all super cinematic, and I felt like they're pretty much fair with the exception of that one. But some of these boss fights were just so epic, and it felt like I was like playing an anime almost.
Yeah.
Quick little side tangent. The number one game, if I had to say like, hey, if you want to play an anime, the game you need to play is Azura's Wrath. That's like the number one game that feels like you're playing an anime. But the cinematic, I don't want to say masterpiece, but just how cinematic a lot of these boss fights were, it felt like I was playing an anime, and that was definitely a good thing. And some of these boss fights were like super epic. The final boss fight of the game, I was probably maybe a little too easy. I think I beat it on my second or third try, but just the boss fights were like super epic and really awesome. There is a boss rush mode, which was not required for the 100%. So I have not actually played the boss rush mode, but I may go back and do it just for the fun of it at some point, because the boss fights were really great. And you saw me die a few minutes ago to an enemy right below that platform.
Yeah.
There was some really cool, interesting enemies in the game as well. So another aspect of the game is you don't have any control of time travel in this game, but there is like weird branching. Like time does not flow like you would expect it to in this game. Like it's difficult to explain, but there's this one enemy that I was fighting that if you were watching me as I was playing, I was talking about this. That one enemy was basically like they took the concept of the movie Tenet. Have you seen Tenet?
No, I'm not.
Okay. So it was Christopher Nolan's most recent movie until he made the biopic Oppenheimer. I haven't seen that one yet, but that's his most recent. But before that came out, his most recent movie was Tenet. And I heard so many people crap on that movie because Christopher Nolan's my favorite director. But so many people crapped on Tenet, said it wasn't a good movie. I just didn't watch it for many years. And then I finally watched it and I was like, what is everyone talking about? This movie was awesome. And it was really unique because one of the cool things about basically all his movies before Batman had like some sort of crazy like plot twist. And the Batman movies weren't really like that. But the Tenet kind of went back to that kind of crazy plot twist. And one of the really cool things about that movie is there's basically like two timelines that are going in opposite directions, which if you saw the trailer, you see some people are like moving forward, but then other people like moving like backwards through time. It's difficult to explain, but if you watch the trailer, you'll kind of know what I mean. So there's these enemies that pop out of the sand, and they, instead of actually like throwing spears at you, they're actually operating in like backwards. So he actually like summons the spear to him because he's kind of like if we're to relate it to the movie Tenet, it's reverse entropy. And so it was really cool concept that these enemies are moving in reverse while you're moving forward. So it was another really cool concept. There's a lot of really cool concepts in this game. So that was another one that I just wanted to point out. Hey, Shred's here as well. And I know he was playing it. I don't know if he's finished it yet, but
he has not finished it yet. He says he still needs to finish it.
There it is. Still got to finish it. I didn't look at the actual comments yet, but
there's a lot of verticality. It looks like in this game too. It gives me Guacamelee vibes a little bit.
Okay, yeah, I really enjoyed the Guacamelee games. Obviously, it's not like that at all when it comes to art style, but a lot of movement and stuff is similar.
They're both about brown people, right? Doesn't that
count? Different types of brown people, but yes. I enjoy the Guacamelee games. But yeah, Shred, definitely go and finish Prince of Persia: Lost Crown. It is a fantastic game.
What about the soundtrack? You didn't really talk about the soundtrack. How's the sound design in this game?
The sound design is good. The soundtrack, I probably should have paid a little more attention to. I can't say there was any music in the game that I didn't like. I just don't remember any music really standing out to me, except for like some of the boss fight themes. Like I said, the music was very epic to go along with the epic boss fights. Just none of the music I could recall off the top of my head that stood out to me that much. But I'm also, I'm trying to be better about it, but I also, that's one thing I'm really bad about is, it wasn't until I even started my YouTube channel that I ever even paid attention to video game music until I met people who are like obsessed with video game music. So I have been trying to get better about that. But there was no bad music in it. Just nothing that really stood out to me and I could recall off the top of my head.
Yeah, to be honest with you, sorry to cut you off. I didn't.
Oh, I was just gonna say, but the sound effects were excellent.
Yeah, I never really I always liked, the OSTs and stuff, but it wasn't until I started listening to ACG reviews when he gets autistically in depth with sound design and everything else like that, and like audio and all that in gaming, that I started to notice it a lot more too. Like the sound effects, the booms, the pows, the overall sounds of the animals, the grass, the chirps, the steps. It's a lot of that stuff is background noise that you kind of just obviously are going to forget about and fade in about, but it is something to consider when you play a lot of these games. Just how much effort and detail these devs go into to just making the clanks clank on time and the footsteps, make a patter sound,
Yeah. Yeah. No, the sound in the game was definitely top notch, just like everything. Oh, another feature that was fantastic that I'd love to see in basically all Metroidvanias going forward is you have way more than you need to, but up in the top left there below the potion, you see a little eyeball symbol.
Yeah.
You definitely don't need anywhere near 18. I think I used maybe 5 across the whole game. But what that down on the D-pad does is it takes a screenshot of wherever you currently are, and it puts that on the map. So if you're in an area and you see there's a chest I can't get to, or here's a puzzle and I don't know how to solve it, you can put a little screenshot of it on your map. So when you're looking at your map later on, you can see exactly what was in that room, not just hey, there's an item in this room, but you can actually see your screenshot that you took to remind you of oh yeah, that's right. Now that I've got this ability, now I know I can reach that or whatnot. So that was a really cool feature that should be standard fare for Metroidvanias going forward.
Okay, right on.
So I see Nerd Takes is here as well. What's up, Nerd Takes? Good to see you, buddy.
Hey, how you doing, buddy? He's going to be on tomorrow night with us. So
awesome.
You'll see him tomorrow as we talk about the Game Awards, but we'll talk more about that later. Neo, do you have any more closing thoughts on this or anything else you'd like to add before we move on?
A couple more things. Shred says the game's platforming challenges are something else. I only did one of them because I was like, oh, you know what? I'll do this one and then I'll come back to the rest of them later, because one of the achievements is for completing all the side quests, and there's a side quest in there for completing all the platform challenges. What I discovered, though, is that specific side quest is not required to get the 100% the achievement for completing all the side quests. So I haven't actually done anything other than the first platforming challenge, but that first platforming challenge was nuts, and they just get more nuts from there. So I'm almost disappointed that there was no achievement for it, because they are like difficult, but like in a completely fair difficult, in my opinion. It was like putting all of your platforming skills to the test, and the platforming challenges were great. The last other thing I want to mention is because I beat the final boss of the game at the beginning of stream 8, I think it was. And then I just did item cleanup for the rest of the stream. And then I was going to do the DLC on the following week, which I started it. And that's when I was having tons of technical difficulties. So I just ended up not streaming the DLC, with the exception of like the first like 30 minutes of it. And because I was going to do the whole DLC in one stream, because the completion estimate for the DLC it says 4 to 5 hours. It probably took me about 6 hours, so it would have been a little bit longer of a stream. But the thing is, I praised the crap out of the base game. I'm glad that I ended up not streaming the DLC, because you didn't miss anything. The DLC called Mask of Darkness was absolutely terrible, and I do not recommend playing the DLC unless you are going for 100% like me.
Oh dear.
It's only like a $10 DLC, which you can, at least on Xbox, it'll often go on sale for $5. But the thing that you would expect in a DLC for a fantastic game like this is to, build off of what you did in the base game. And my assumption for a DLC in Metroidvania would be like, hey, in the DLC, we're going to give you some new ability, and then you use that ability to solve all the puzzles and, the platforming and the combat challenges throughout the course of the DLC. But no, what did they do? Coming off the highs of such a great game, the DLC takes away all of your abilities. So you're basically at the beginning of the game again, and the entire DLC, you're just regaining the abilities you already had. There are no new abilities in the DLC.
I hate when that happens. Persona 3 did that.
Absolute garbage. So I definitely do not recommend the DLC. But the base game itself was top tier, phenomenal in every way. I cannot say a single bad thing about it. I see a few more people have dropped in who might not have heard me talking about at the beginning. This has rearranged my top 5 Metroidvanias of all time. It's that good.
And hi, Sammy. I'm doing a little bit better today, especially as compared to yesterday. All right. So is that all you have to say about this Prince of Persia game?
Yeah, I think so. Just one other thing is that I meant to say it at the beginning, because when this game first got announced, a lot of people were hating on it, particularly Prince of Persia purists. I've never played any of the old ones. The only other Prince of Persia game I've ever played was the cel-shaded one from 2008, which I enjoyed, but I don't really have the nostalgia for the franchise. So from the moment I saw it, I was like, I want to play this game, and it lived up to every expectation. And I did mention that a lot of people played it and ended up liking it. I think pretty much everyone who did play it ended up liking it, even if they were haters of it from the beginning. So, fantastic game.
All right. What would you give it as a final grade since you beat it?
Oh, I would give, like, if we were doing out of 10, absolutely a 10. On Fuse, I ranked it a legendary. Like I said, it's in my top 5 Metroidvanias now, so it's definitely like top tier.
Okay, terrific. Well, that's very good. So go check out that game. Prince of Persia: Lost Crown is available on everything. Constantly is going on sale, especially physically. I think it was like $10 on Walmart Plus just recently, I saw.
I don't know about that, but I do have a physical copy of it. So it's one of the few physical games I bought in the last few years. And that's because I found it cheaper physically than digitally.
All right. Awesome. Go check the game out. Yeah, it looks pretty fun. Looks like there's a lot of fun verticality and combat and combos and stuff like that. I know everyone that's kind of played it says that it's really good and it's always kind of like the same thing. Sad we won't probably get another one. So
Yep, that's the one of the biggest bummers is that it didn't do well, and yeah, like I said, the studio has been rearranged or shut down or something. It's highly unlikely we'll get a sequel, which is a bummer because the game was so good.
yes, yes, indeed, indeed. Okay, moving on now, we'll go to my second game, and I'll kind of keep the theme of my dailies going on over here. And currently, one of my dailies is the Age of Mythology, sorry, campaigns that I've been doing. Recently, I just beat the Chinese campaign that focuses more on like the Chinese mythology lore. I think this one goes around with like the tales of like the Pillars of Heavens, because that's what this one is kind of based off of. Um, but yeah, Age of Mythology is basically just a classic RTS game made from Ensemble Studios back in the day.
I was going to say this is the original one, right?
Yeah, but this is retold. I've been playing the
Oh,
retold.
this is
one.
retold. Okay.
Yeah. So World's Edge is the current dev of these franchises, and so far they've done a really good job bringing these back to modern uh, platforms and hardware. On top of that, too, like they've done a really good job graphically to change it up and everything else like that. You can like really zoom in and get the details of like your villagers and your units and stuff like that too. But Age of Mythology is very different from Age of Empires because they introduced like these mechanics called god mechanics and stuff like that, god powers. So they kind of go throughout like the ages that you're in for people who haven't played it. So like there's like the first age, the second, third, and fourth age, and each god power will get increasingly better depending on which god you select. So like your first power, say for example, will be like your crops grow faster, and then your like last god power will be meteor strikes. You know, and you just giant meteors just rain from the sky. They're hitting people. They're flying everywhere and crazy stuff like that. It's pretty cool. And as the title implies, it's called Age of Mythology. So the original campaign is actually just you fighting for the Atlanteans. So like you meet up with like the famous heroes who helped overthrow Troy, like Ajax and oh crap, the guy from the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Homer?
Not Homer. The hero in that one. I'm blanking right now his name. But you were
Achilles?
Achilles is on there too. Yes, I don't think it's Achilles, but it's one of the guys who. I don't think it's Perseus, but
I'll look it up.
Yeah, like he's trying to get back to Ithaca. That's what I'm trying to remember his name off the top of my head. But you know, he goes to fight this war, and then like the suitors. Odysseus, yes. So like you run into Odysseus and stuff like that. But you play as like the Atlanteans. That's like part of the campaign, and you're trying to like basically stop the Titans from coming back. That's like one of the big storylines in this one, in the main campaign, I guess you could say. And you go through like this whole crazy adventure where you go through Egypt and you go through like the Norse lands, and each like civilization has their own special abilities and powers. So like you see this little lightning bolt over here, that's your faith or your favor that you get from the gods, okay? And in order to activate your god powers and to get your mythical units and stuff like that, you have to build up your faith. And depending on like which civilization you use, like they got like a certain way to build it up. So like the Greeks, you actually have to commit resources of people like bowing down and praying at a temple. The Egyptians, they kind of naturally grow it because they have a pharaoh unit, and the pharaoh unit can kind of empower everything to like grow faster. And the Norse units, to get their fate, you gotta like just fight. Like you gotta just send units in to fight. That's that, and you just gain your favor like that. So you just build up a giant army and bum rush, and that's how you kind of like get your faith power and stuff like that. But they got like all the really cool like units out there too, like the mythological units. So you can fight like with hydras and sphinxes, and in the later iterations of this game, with the Titan, they have like an Athenian Titan campaign that was originally DLC back in the day. You can also build a Titan gate in these games, and you can summon like a giant Titan that has like 5 million HP and does like a crap ton of damage. You know,
That's
like
awesome.
yeah. But the the campaigns that they currently have, like I said, there's the Atlantean Titan campaign. There's one of Brock and Sindri to rebuild Thor's hammer, which is a little bit of a side uh, mission. It's only like 4 levels, believe it or not. It's barely a campaign. I don't even know why they even bother. To be honest with you, it's just so short. And then this one right here is the Chinese mythology one. This one's only 9 levels long. It's not that like long or too deep. But like this one I just beat recently. You're trying to stop. I forget the guy's name, so I think it's like Huan Zheru. Don't kill me because it's a name that is in Chinese and I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. And I think the people who did the voice acting job, God bless them. I kept laughing the entire time because they have like the oh hello kind of like Chinese like they tried to not do the hello like but they like you could tell like it's like bro you guys are white as shit doing these voice acting jobs.
um, real quickly here, it looks like you're playing this on PC. Is that right?
Yeah,
Because this
I
is
own
available on console, I believe.
yeah this isn't my gameplay, it's someone else's, but yeah
Oh, okay.
I only play these games on PC.
Hey, I don't know
um
why you'd want to play it on console.
I heard that they're not bad. I know Age of Empires was actually back on the PS2 back in the day.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and Age of Mythology actually does have a DS copy of the game. But
Yes, really.
yeah, I know, right? But generally speaking, like these games are like, I love to play these games only on mouse and key, just for the precision of movement with the mouse and everything else like that. Like, the Age of Mythology doesn't get as super intense into like the troop formations and stuff like that, like say a Total War game does. But like a lot of these games do have like interesting like dynamics with what units you create. Like the mythical units are better against mythical units and so on and so forth. It does have like the rock paper scissors of like spear beats this, sword beats that, arrow beats that, cavalry beats that. It's got all like your basic like necessity and needs. And then they also have in this game a hero system where you can at certain camps spawn like a overpowered unit, and they're based off of mythology. So like you could get like Ajax, Perseus, like Son Goku, stuff like that.
Goku's in the game?
Yeah, well, obviously Tail to the West. But these two recent campaigns that they brought out. First one was the Chinese one, and they just released the Japanese one earlier this year, the Spear of Heaven.
Oh,
And,
Heavenly Spear.
yeah, and
Is Immortal Pillars, is that the Chinese one?
Yeah, Immortal Pillars is the Chinese one, because the reason why is that you need to stop the big bad in this game from destroying basically the pillars of heaven, because then like the underworld and then there's all this like craziness of gods and everything. Like this campaign I did enjoy because there is a part where you have to go into the underworld, and because everything's kind of all messed up right now. Like see here, you can see like all the giant fireballs raining down from the sky. That's your god power.
Nice.
But like you kind of go into the afterlife, and like you have to go through all the like separate afterlives of like the Greeks, the Athenian, the Atlanteans, the Egyptians, and the Norse god and the Chinese gods and stuff like that to get certain stuff done. So for an RTS, like this one is like more creative, I guess you could say, because if you play Age of Empires, any of them, the only one that has like a real story, quote unquote, is like Age of Empires 3. And Age of Empires 3 is not the best one, because it's more focused on colonial times, and I'm not a huge fan of like the Napoleonic eras for me personally. I prefer the old ride on your horse and cut them down with swords eras for my type of games. But no, this one in particular, like I said, I just enjoy like this game a lot more because there's like a storyline. There's more unique ways to play a game. It's not like just the simple, straightforward. Like, okay, here are your farmers. Here's your places get wood. Here's your places get gold, and let's just try to, rock paper scissors it depending on like what civilization we're doing. You know, it's like you got to think about like what kind of army, what kind of like dice roll you get, because sometimes depending on what civilization you pick, they don't always give you the same god and goddess choices when you upgrade each level. So
Okay.
there's a little bit of like a roguelike element to that where it's like, okay, this time do I want to go with Zeus or Hera, or do I want to go with Poseidon or Hades or stuff like that, because depending on what you get, like you get access to certain mythological units, you get access to certain god powers, and you get access to like certain upgrades, like mythical upgrades as well.
So add some more variety to it to encourage some replayability.
Yeah, there's definitely a ton of replayability in these games, and like I said, I do think that these are just okay stories. I mean, obviously they're RTS games. You're not playing them to like really love the story and stuff like that. Even Halo Wars, you weren't playing Halo Wars for the story. You're playing it for like the management sim, the combat, the armies, and like the different strategies and stuff like that. And this is the I forget what this guy's name, but he's the Chinese God of War.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like that's a big beefy boy.
I forget his name on the top of my head. Let's call him Mushu Pork. All right, let's just go with that one for now. But yeah, if you know anything about Chinese mythology or any mythology at all, you're going to like Chu Yu. That's his name, Chu Yu.
Ah,
But you're gonna love these games, just for the pure fact of just like the random, insane, god powers that will like smite you down the line. Especially if you play like multiplayer, it's like you never really know what your opponent has all the time. So it's like sometimes you're like, oh, I can go rush this base, and then it's all of a sudden like you run into like say god power that tangles up your units, and then you're just like, oh damn it, I'm kind of stuck there or something like that. One of my favorite god powers though is you get to summon dragons. Like there's this big giant storm dragon you can summon, and it's awesome.
sweet.
But another thing too is this game has a really good soundtrack. And what I mean by that is just like if I could find a isolation video of it, it's got really like good, like you're sitting there, you're doing all this stuff, and then you're just like this weird whistly kind of creepy mesmerizing kind of sound. It like how can I say this? It reminds me of like Egyptian. That's the best way to say it. It's like that old ancient like Egyptian hearing that you would like hear in like a history class or something like for like the sound of Egyptian. But they did a really great job with it, where it's like a blend of Greek and everything too in it. I don't know.
Okay.
It's just it sounds really damn good, and I definitely need to make it a part of the opening soundtrack for these countdowns one day. But overall, like I said, this game is on everything except for Switch. It's on PS5, it's on Xbox, and it's on PC, of course. Steam as well, if you're looking for Steam or Game Pass. But very easy pick up, put down kind of play type of games. If you played Age of Empires, there's a lot of the bones to the system there because this is built off of the Age of Empires engine. But overall, it's just more of a. I think this is more of a fun multiplayer kind of game, just for the pure randomness of like this type of game. And just to kind of point this out here, how the Chinese get their faith is they got to have the buildings connect. That's another way. So like,
Okay.
yeah, I think the Japanese like you need to build like Shinto shrines. I'm only a little bit into it. I haven't really got too deep into the Japanese campaign yet, but yeah, each civilization has their own bonuses, pluses, minus, drawbacks, whatever you like to say about it. I would say go check them out. Games on Game Pass. So if you're interested in looking for a RTS game, I think Age of Mythology is probably like one of the easier and best ones to get into.
And if you do have Game Pass, it is Play Anywhere, so you can play it on your Xbox or you can play it on your PC.
and your phone. You play it
Oh,
on your
through cloud streaming.
Yeah. Overall, I give this game a B. This what I mean. Performance issues. I had one crash that like ruined my day horribly. It was on the last level of the Chinese campaign, and it's a very long one. And there's no autosave, so I'm like really close to the end, and all of a sudden my game crashed, and I'm like, oh, I just wasted an hour.
Oh, and you have to do the whole level over again.
I was so mad, and then I got paranoid, so I was like saving every time like I got
So
to
you
a
can
pivotal
save
point.
anywhere.
Yeah, that's the plus side. So like you can save, and like I said, easy pick up and put down type of game, which I do enjoy, and I always gotta say that for these type of games, easy pick up put down. So that's also another plus, and that's all I got to say about Age of Mythology.
Okay. The first DLC, all the Arena of the Gods. What was that?
Arena of the Gods. I think that's like I don't think that's a DLC. I think that's a side event. You know, like a
Okay.
special type of gameplay mode.
Okay. I'm assuming it's similar with the most recent one called Gauntlet. That's probably like some
Yeah,
additional mode.
those are additional gameplay modes. Like there's the campaigns, and then there's different gameplay modes.
Do you know, are there any other DLC campaigns in the works?
I don't know. You know what's funny? Like you and I are like really big, Microsoft like Xbox fanboys and stuff like that. But World's Edge is like one of the quietest studios they own. Like I hear almost nothing really about it until they announce it. Like they just go to work, do their thing, stealth drop. I know that they did in their trailer for the Heavenly Sphere or Spear uh, say that they reached 60 million players in Age of Mythology.
Nice.
So it does have a very hardcore fan base, but nobody really talks about it. It's just like kind of it's Age of Mythology and Age of Empires are like games everyone knows about that have huge like followings, but they're like never like the first thing you hear like a video game like show talk about. I feel like I'm the only one, you know?
Yeah, it's like one of those ones. It's like it's big, like everyone knows about it, but just they don't realize how big it is. Kind of like when you told me that Monster Hunter was like Capcom's biggest franchise. I was like, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
So I totally get what you mean.
I mean, RTS nerds, let's face it, they're a special type of autistic person, you know?
Yeah, I don't do RTSs, so that's why World's Edge. I hadn't even heard that name or hadn't remembered it at least.
Yeah, like I said, they're one of Microsoft's very quiet, probably very successful studios. Side note, maybe this I'll talk about this one soon next week. But Age of Empires 2 has been getting like a shit ton of updates. And I mean like new factions, new campaigns. They brought over the entire first game into the Age of Empires 2 engine. So like you could buy the DLC for Age of Empires to play it in Age of Empires 2.
Okay.
And then on top of that too, they just did an Alexander the Great DLC. So like there's a whole campaign storyline where you replay the pivotal battles of Alexander the Great and do like his entire conquest, I guess. So maybe
That was
for next show.
for Age of Empires 2, the one
That's
that came
Age of
out.
Empires 2, yeah.
Now it came out like 20 some years ago.
Yeah, and then they did the remaster of that, and then
The
basically
definitive edition.
yeah, and then basically they've just said like, oh well, we're just gonna keep adding more civilizations and DLCs and stuff like that to this one. And to be honest with you, it's been really successful.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy how much the Age of Empires 2 has gotten support, even though we have Age of Empires 4 now.
Yeah,
And they're still adding stuff to 2, which is kind of nuts. It's like, I wish some other franchises would do that with some of their older. It's like you can release new stuff, but give us some of the old stuff too. So that's kind of cool that they're doing that.
yeah, and all these campaigns that we see, like the Heaven Sphere, Spear, and Pillars, like these are old ones that were released a long time ago too. That they're just bringing over slowly as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I didn't know about this. I was like, oh, they had to have done, an Eastern, expansion and stuff like that of these games prior, and they did, but I never played them because I didn't know about them. But that's all I have to really say. Neo, do you have any closing thoughts?
Uh, Not really. I don't really do RTSs, so I'm glad that you're enjoying it.
Okay, cool beans. All right, what's the next game you want to go with then, Neo?
So I'm going to cover not two games, but kind of two things. Since this one, I don't have a whole lot to say about the game itself. But I'll start. Yeah, I'll start with the game, and then I'll wrap up with the other thing that I forgot to mention beforehand. But
Okay.
so another one that I just want to talk about briefly because it's not a long game. It was a very cozy comfort game, and I wanted to get a couple more games that released this year knocked out because I think last year in 2024, I think I played like 2 games that came out in 2024. And that's pretty standard for me for the last probably maybe the better half of a decade, just because I'm so patient and frugal. So this year I'd already gotten a good number of 2025 games under my belt. So I was like, hey, let's get a couple more in. So there is a game that came to Game Pass. It launched in August, and I think I actually started it like the week it came out. The first achievement I got, was it at the end of August. That game is called Herdling. Herdling. I did not stream it, but it was just this cute little cozy game. It says True Achievements has it at a 3 to 4 hour completion. I did it in about 6.5 hours, but I did it over the course of like one day. You just wake up as this kid and you find these creatures. These I don't want to say mythical creatures, but these are creatures that don't actually exist in the real world. But they exist in this game's world, and they're called calicorns, and they're just like big furry cows. And
they look like yaks. That's what they look like. A little bit of yak.
It's like a big furry yak. And so it's just a cute little adventure game. I don't even think the main character kid even has a name. But
it's kid, like it should be.
It's kid. And you grow your herd of calicorns. I think at the end you have 12. I want to say there is an achievement for making sure all 12 of them make it to the end of the game without dying, which is really easy to get because if one of them dies, you can just quit and reload your last checkpoint. So as long as if one dies, you just reload your last checkpoint, you'll be fine. If you keep going, then you're screwed and you have to play the whole game over again. But it's not, like I said, it's not a terribly long game. There was one, and they're not difficult to find. Most of the time, they're kind of like right in your path because it is a very linear game. You don't have to go out of your way. But there was one that was actually hidden that I missed on my first time, so I had to go back and play the first. Like the first hour of the game again in order to get back to where I was because I realized I had already gone past the point and it saved, so I couldn't just go back. Although I realized it right after I went to the next area, I should have been able to turn around, but no, it locked the door behind me, so I couldn't go back. So I had to start the game over again. But whenever you add a new calicorn to your herd, you get the option to name it whatever you want. So if you wanted to give it some sort of obscene name, you are more than welcome to do that. I didn't do that. It does have a random name generator, so I just went with whatever the random name generator generated. And they are not like normal names that we would expect. They're names that, like I don't even remember what any of them are, but they're names that would fit into this game's world. So, it was a cute little adventure, and you're picking up more calicorns and increasing your herd size, rescuing these cute little creatures. Some of them are big, some of them are small, and you start out in the city, and then you're the next level. You're in the pasture, and then you're in the forest, and then you're in the mountains, and there are some light puzzle solving elements that you have to use you have to direct your calicorn to help you solve puzzles and open gates and stuff. So, it's just a cute little cozy, quick game. Like I said, I beat it over the course of a day. And if you like animals, which I do, I was going to say I don't have any animals. I do have animals. I do have at the moment. I don't have any fuzzy animals, but I love animals, and I would love to, just have like an animal sanctuary and just have all sorts of animals to take care of. But it was great to just be this little kid and rescuing these calicorns, because sometimes they're like you rescue them, or like you saw one was kind of trapped in a cage there. You find one that's stuck in like a thistle bush, and a couple times you're along these cliff edges and the cliff gives way and you got to rescue them before they slide off to their death.
Oh boy.
So as long as it's very difficult to lose the Calicorn to that. As long as just go up and mash the QTE as soon as it happens, you'll be fine. But sometimes it will take damage, and you'll see blood on their fur, and so if you don't, there are little fruits that you find throughout the game that are pretty rare, but the places that they can take damage is not very common either. So usually after an area where there's a potential for them to take damage, you'll find one of those fruits, and you just feed it to them, and then they'll recover their health. So it's not difficult to not lose any of the Calicorns. But it reminded me of there was a movie, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a CG animated movie. It came out a couple years ago. It takes place in China, and these kids are in like Shanghai, and they discover a Yeti, and the Yeti wants to get back to the mountains, and so the kids make it their job to help this Yeti get back to the mountains. And this game reminded me of that, because that's basically what you're doing here. Is you're getting these Calicorns back to the wild, so they can be free. This part right here, there's an achievement for getting through the first level without knocking over any cones, which you see them knocking the cones over right there. This part right here is the only part of the level that's difficult because it's so narrow and they don't follow your directions exactly. So I had to reload this checkpoint about 10 times in order to get through this without knocking the cones over. That was a little annoying, but
oh geez.
But yeah, each level has a little achievement for like doing something specific in the level. So as long as you're aware of it ahead of time, it's pretty easy to do those. So the achievements were fairly simple. There are some collectibles that are, like I said, are very difficult to miss. But yeah, it's just a cute little game where you're herding these Calicorns and herding them to their freedom. And so
how's the sound design and stuff? I always got to ask this now when we talk. It
was quite fitting. So again, similar to Prince of Persia, I wouldn't be able to like recall any of the tracks, but the music, well, it's also similar to Prince of Persia. Like the sound effects were fit in perfectly. The music for the setting matched exactly. So like this is the very first level here. They're just about to reach chapter 2 as soon as they get to that gate in front of them. And the music going on while you're in the city area here is kind of solemn and kind of dreary because there's the animals. They don't want to be in the city. They want to be out in the pasture where they're have room to run around and stuff. So as soon as you get out of the city here and you get into this pasture area, the mood of the music lightens up, and you learn the stampede ability. So because there's actually an achievement coming up here in a few minutes where you have to make it into this tunnel like immediately after the train, so you have to make sure you do it quickly, but the music kind of swells, and as you see, that's where you get the title card right there, is after you get out of the city on the first chapter. So I thought the music fit the mood wherever you are, because there's like the chapter 3 there, you're kind of in this kind of swampy area, and the music is more not quite so bright and colorful because it is a little bit of a darker level. So the music was very fitting for each of the stages, which I think there's only like 6 or 7 stages. There's not very many of them. It's a short game.
This game is very short. I think this whole playthrough is like roughly 2.5 to 3 hours. I think I saw on YouTube.
That could very well be accurate.
Yeah, and another thing too is I was looking to studio up. The studio is called Okomotive. Did you play their other game by any chance? It's called Far.
Oh, I pulled it up right here. There are 2 Far games on Xbox. There's Far Lone Sails, which I have not played, but Far Changing Tides I did play. I panic played that before it left Game Pass back in February of 2023. So I did not realize that was the same studio, but now I feel, now that you pointed that out, I do see some connecting tissue between the 2 games. Okay. Very different in play style, but they have kind of a similar like art style.
Yeah, because I know Far was like you have to push like this like boat or like whatever, kind of like keep going across a desolate wasteland. So it seems like this company just likes to do like these cozy kind of like more like not like a hardcore intense gameplay, but more like a fun kind of like, oh, this was so fun, you know, bite-sized kind of game.
Absolutely. Yeah. Far was you get this like vehicle. I think it started out as like a train and then it goes in the water and it becomes a boat. And it's almost Metroidvania like in that you get new equipment that increases your mobility because then at the end it becomes a submarine.
Yeah.
It's the entire game was moving left to right, so it's not like there's any like backtracking or anything because it's this large vehicle. You have to go into the different rooms inside the vehicle and you need to pump the fire and you need to do all these different things in order to keep the engine running. So you're not very maneuverable. And that game was a 2D game.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a rather short game. It's True Achievements has it as an 8 to 10 hour completion. It took me a little bit longer than that, but I did get all the achievements in that one as well. So yeah, they have a kind of a they know what they want to make, and they don't pad out the runtime just to make it a longer game. They have their vision and they execute on it, pretty well. What I would say.
Yeah, I would say so. All right, Neil, do you have any closing thoughts on Herdlings?
Herdling, fun little
Herdling.
short romp through a couple of pretty environments, and yeah, short game. It recently came to Game Pass, so it'll still be on Game Pass for probably a while. My guess would be until August of next year. But the other thing I wanted to touch
one
on.
second before we move on.
Absolutely.
Herding. What? How do you say this one?
Herdling.
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 Herdling is also available on everything, so Switch, PlayStation, PC, and of course Xbox and Game Pass as well.
Yeah, I've played it on Game Pass, and it is Play Anywhere as well.
Perfect. All right, sorry. Go back to what you're saying there, Neil.
So the other thing I wanted to touch on briefly is not one game in particular, but I have been playing a bunch of bite-sized chunks of a bunch of other games because there is currently on True Achievements, there is the in December, they always do the 12 Days of Christmas event, which has been a lot of fun. Right. It's my favorite event of the year. And so how that works is on day one, December 1st, there's get one achievement that matches some criteria. Day two is 2 achievements. And so I've been playing a lot of different games, but just not to a very long extent. So I'm currently on day 9. I was keeping up each day, but day 9 is get 9 achievements in sports, racing, or music and rhythm games, and I have very few games to pick from, so I'm kind of stuck on that one. But yeah, I just wanted to shout out the 12 Days of Christmas event because that one is always a lot of fun.
All right, cool. Well, that game looks pretty fun. I might have my wife play it just to see how she fucks it all up.
Oh, that would probably, there's no co-op or anything. It is a single player game, but is definitely a game that your lady friends would probably like as well. And it's very simple. So if they're not much of a gamer, then I think they could handle it.
Right on. All right. Any other last things before I move on to my third game?
Go for it.
All right. This one, I want to keep it very brief because I actually just started playing this the other day. So I haven't really gotten too far into it. I played about like 2 hours, but I wanted to shout it out because it's Paper Mario and the Origami King. This game is basically the engine that they used for Paper Mario and the Thousand Year Door remake or remaster, whatever you want to call it. It seems like these companies don't know what a remake or remaster is ever. But started off this game, and you know what's kind of funny? I heard nothing but like actual like anger from a lot of like the Paper Mario fandom about this game. And
I don't know anything about it. I've heard nothing but good things about Thousand Year Door, but I haven't really heard anybody talk about Origami King, so I know nothing about this one.
I feel like with Paper Mario fans in particular, it's like Thousand Year Door, the original N64 one, and then that's it. I never I never hear anyone ever talk about like the other ones. There's one on the Wii U, Switch, and well, this is obviously a Switch, and like the 3DS, and I think there's a crossover with Mario and Luigi, the main RPG where they cross over with Paper Mario. Like this game has a surprisingly big amount of games in its franchise, but it feels like it's kind of like when we talk about like say Dragon Age, I guess you could say it's like you go with like the first two, and then people kind of just like stop talking about it after that. You know, it's just like we talk about the first one, and then that's really about it.
Yeah, I just pulled up the Paper Mario games, and there's a few in here that I didn't even know existed.
Yeah, AC says I'm stepping into a world I'm not prepared for.
Oh yeah, Carl is So Origami King, that is
The newest
uh
one.
oh the newest one that's not the remake.
Yeah, that's not the remake. This game came out in 2020, actually. Believe it or not, it's this
Okay, it's a
this
Switch
game.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I
this
thought it was
game.
like a GameCube game or something because I know nothing.
No,
I know nothing about this franchise.
no, this game is roughly 5 years old at this point, and I want to say just from my like little interaction I've had so far, is this gameplay is very interesting. So they do like a circle mechanic. How do I say this? Like you got to get enemies lined up in a row in order to like do like certain moves or stuff like that. Let's see if I can kind of speed this up a little bit so I can bring it up here. So like here you can see it like this. So you're like you got this big circle thing and you have to move the enemies in order to line up to kind of look like this. Be
Interesting.
so like
Is all the combat in this like circle arena type?
So far, yes. Like I said, I'm only
Huh.
about like a couple hours in. So what you do is like you got like your hammer, which does like a whole like AOE effect. So like when there's spread up like this, you can just like that's you when you want to use the hammer. But then like if they're all lined up in a row, that's when you want to like do like the jump attack and like you the Paper Mario games, kind of like the Mario and Luigi games, are like all basically like timing of like your hits and stuff like that. And 1 second. Stop bothering your sister. Leave her alone. Like my one beagle, she's sleeping, and he's like trying to kick her out of her spot, and she's not having it.
And
Go on.
this is not your gameplay, right?
No, not my gameplay.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't think you streamed this.
AC's like I like Color Splash for the Wii U, but I don't consider it a true Paper Mario game.
Colors. Oh yeah, I do see that on the list here. I'd never even heard of that game until literally a couple minutes ago.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted to play this one because Fernando is still working on my Wii U, so eventually I will play Color Splash for that and play the Wii version and all that other stuff. But I don't know. So far, I'm just really liking it. It's got like this really interesting mechanic of like everything is like paper mache and origami. Like obviously, as the theme of this game is Origami King, and like usually Paper Mario is like 2D, like they're little paper cutouts and stuff. But this one like really like hammers home like that 3D kind of feel to it. Nintendo during this time was like really feeling like this like over the top like three-dimensional kind of feeling to it because other games like Yoshi's like Crafted World or Yarn or something like that also has this feel to it. Kirby did something similar to this not too long ago.
I was gonna say Kirby's Epic Yarn.
Yeah, there's also one with Woolly's World, Yoshi's Woolly World.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, I played a little bit of it this year. It's for kids. It's like actually a babby game. It's like this is fine. I just got bored of it real quick. I'm like, this is for a demographic of 5 and 7 year olds, not for me. And then AC says over here, they are all interesting RPG games, but a far cry what the series started out as. Yeah, I don't know. I will hold judgment, Mr. AC, until I play a few more of them. I am but a, you know, filthy casual Nintendo fake fanboy here, so I wanted to play something like this because we're getting towards the end of our challenge, and like I'm also starting to think about like, okay, what are we gonna do for next year and everything. So I was like, yeah, let's get this on here. Let's play this as like one of those I play for maybe an hour or two kind of games. And most of the Paper Mario games are kind of easy to pick up and put down kind of games. So that's why I kind of went with this one first. Nothing too much to say about it. I'll probably have more to say about this next week as I get more into it. But that being said, I have nothing else more to say about it other than like it.
About how much time have you put into it so far?
About 2 hours.
Yeah. Okay, so you're pretty early on then.
Yeah, like I'm super early on. I'm like another hour after this point. That's where I'm at. But I like how this game looks and feels so far. I know a lot of people hate the battle mechanic. Like I remember like just this like unfiltered salty autism when this game came out, and I was reading all the comments on Twitter. I'm like, I was like, I don't know how bad this could be, but some people were making it sound like, they walked in on their like Nintendo just killing their puppy, and I'm like, what happened here, but,
Um,
but this was also before I met AC too, so like he's probably writing like this autistic diatribe to me in the DMs about like why I'm wrong or something about this stuff.
so what is your history with the Paper Mario games? Which ones have you played?
I just played Thousand Year Door. Like I just played it
Okay.
like last year. I remember I looked interesting. Everyone always tells me like Thousand Year Door is like one of the best, GameCube games, if not one of the best Mario games of all time. And as somebody who's not the biggest Nintendo fanboy, but also who's not the biggest Mario guy, I like more of his like spin-offs than his mainline stuff, to be honest with you. I Go on.
I was just say I'm very much the same way. I've made no secret that I'm not a huge fan of Mario, but the mainline ones I am more interested in. With as long as we're not counting like Smash Brothers, because that's not technically like a Mario game. It's just he's kind of the face of it.
Yeah. No, but like I said, I've liked these. I like this stuff more from Nintendo. So I said, what, I want to give it a try. And I adored A Thousand Year Door, and I they you could tell that they use this engine to do that remaster. So I was like, well, let's start here, and then if I like this, I'll probably go back and play like the 3DS and the N64 version because I have access to those right now with ease versus waiting for my Wii to finally come home to me and figure out a place where I'm going to put that.
What's wrong with the Wii U? I think you said.
I had one of those like chip issues where it just burnt out, I guess.
Huh. I've not heard of that.
Yeah, and Fernando, he's been working on it, and he's basically got it back to running, I think, at 1080p. I don't know if he's still here, but if he is, he could tell me. But he's got everything working for the most part. He's just doing a little bit more stuff. He's trying to get it to mod it to be region free, so
very nice.
So we could play games without region locking because Nintendo asshole about that.
Yep. Yeah, we were talking about the region thing. I don't know if it was on stream or off stream not long ago, but I went into a little bit of a dive to figure out like why that even existed. Because that made no sense, but I found out why.
Yeah, but that's all I have to say about this one. Short and sweet. We'll give you a progress update. Oh, you know what? Probably after the holidays on this one.
Okay.
So what would you like to follow up next with there, Neo?
And Canadian says that Epic Yarn is goated. So is that I should put that on the list to play at some point?
Yeah, that's the Kirby game. I think that's only on the Wii U though.
Epic Yarn is on Wii.
Yeah, okay.
It might also be on Wii U, but I do know that it is on Wii.
Remember. Yeah, there's one of them, but yeah, that one I think is more fun. It's not.
That's just a 2D platformer, I assume.
There's one where it's like you play as a ball, and I think that might be the one I'm thinking of more than that one.
So, yeah, I've never actually played the only game I've ever played with Kirby in it is the Smash Bros. Game. So I've heard that there are some really good Kirby games. So if Canadian says that Epic Yarn is goated, then I'll put it on the list to play at some point.
It says on the Wii and 3DS.
Wii and 3DS. Okay. Cool.
Which one's better, AC? Since
3DS is insanely expensive.
Oh, I gotta find out right now. We gotta find out how much this is. Kirby.
Yeah, pull it up on the price charting.
$87. I would say that's pretty expensive. Yeah.
Not terrible, but yeah, it's definitely more than I would want to pay for a 3DS game. Nowadays.
Yeah, and also, is it a sequel though? Because it says Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn.
That is a good question. I would have no idea.
It feels like that's a sequel more than so.
Or maybe it's like a shrunk down version of the Wii version made to be portable. Would be my guess. Never bought the 3DS version, so no idea how. Oh,
Boo! Fake fan. Fake fan. He's a fake fan. We can say that now.
yep.
Take that, incel. All right, which game you want to go with next there, Neo-san?
All right, so next game on my chopping block here tonight. Okay, it says they added extra stuff to it. So, is a game that I played, and it was all your fault. But I say that lovingly. So, what was it? I want to say they gave us about a year heads up because it's closing in January, and that is Anthem is shutting down in January, and they gave a good amount of time letting everyone know, hey, that this game is shutting down. The servers will go offline. It is a what's the term I'm looking for?
Looter shooter.
Well, it is a looter shooter. I meant an always online game. You can't play it without the servers. So because it's very much like Destiny in that those servers have to be active, and if the servers aren't available, you can't play it. Even if you have the Discord, which I do. I have the physical disc for Anthem. But they let us know earlier this year that Anthem would be shutting down in early January. And back in it was in July that they let us know, because right after that is when you put a post out saying, hey, who wants to 100% this with me? And I was like, let's do it. So we started playing it, I believe, on July 23rd. And then we have not played it together since.
I know. I was trying to play it and I'm like, I need to find time for this game. And I'm just like, do I really care about Anthem? And it's like, no, not really.
Thank you, Angry Canadian. That's the term I was looking for. Live service game. I can't believe I just blanked on it. But yes, it is a live service game. That's the term I was looking for.
There you go.
So we started playing it in July 23rd, I believe, is when I got my first achievement in it. And we played it for an hour or two. And I think we were planning on playing it, a couple hours once a week. That just didn't end up happening. But when we first started, you were already a decent. I don't remember what level you were, but I was starting at level 1 because I'd never played it before. You were already at. I want to say you were like level 13 or something. The level cap is 30, so you were. If my memory serves, and you were level 13, then you would have been about halfway. Which, when I beat the story, I think I was only at like level 20. So I did the remaining 10 levels, which are not required to get all the achievements. You only have to get to level 26 to get all the achievements, because there are achievements for each of the 4. So the mech suits that you fly in, they're called javelins, and there's 4 different ones, and you unlock them at level 2, 4, 8, or maybe it was 2, because you start out with 1, and then I think you get your next one at 4, and then 16, and then you get your last one at level 26. So at level 26, you have all the javelins, and you get all the remaining achievements. But I got the remaining 10 levels from 20 to 30 just while I was doing the post-game stuff, working on getting all the achievements. But anyways, this game was, you and I are both big fans of BioWare. Mass Effect is my favorite franchise of all time. I believe it's also your favorite franchise of all time.
Mm-hmm.
We were a bit let down by Mass Effect Andromeda. That game got a lot of flack, and I'm a defender of Mass Effect Andromeda in that it was not as bad as everyone said it was. It didn't deserve as much hate as it got. It's not great. It does not live up to the expectations of the first 3 games, but it was not a bad game by any means. And I have a very similar feeling towards Anthem. It had so much potential. It could have been such a good game because, who doesn't want to fly around in Iron Man mech suits? It had such a cool concept. And, it's a looter shooter. It felt very much like Destiny because you can play the entire game in at least 3-player, if not 4-player co-op. I don't know, because the only co-op I ever played it with was that one time with you. The entire rest of the time I spent playing the game in solo.
Yeah.
But it came out. It didn't do that hot. I was I played the demo back before the game even came out, and that immediately turned me off. And the biggest thing about the demo that turned me off about the game is that, well, there were two things. I dropped into the demo on the first level, and I was automatically put in with other people who had already played it, and they were like already a few levels ahead, and they were just off doing their thing. It's like I can't pay attention to the dialogue or what's going on in the story at all, and I think just over the course of the first level, I had to go through probably like 8 loading screens just in the first level. So I was immediately put off the game by that. And so I was like, I had a very bad first impression of the game, and I was not planning on ever playing it. But then when, they got announced it was shutting down, you said, hey, who wants to play it? And I was like, you know what? What the heck? Let's go ahead and do it and see for ourselves. So overall, I enjoyed my time with the game. Like I said, it had so much potential to be more. Oh, that was where I was going with that, is they didn't shut the game down, but they did say that they were going to re-release the game, kind of like Final Fantasy XIV, where they kind of went back to the drawing board and then re-released it as what it is now. And that kind of saved them, because that, from what I hear, the original version of Final Fantasy XIV was not good.
No.
But then it's a incredibly popular MMO, and it's done very well. They said they were going to do something like that, and they were going to release an Anthem 2.0 version. I was like, that would be awesome.
Yeah, like Anthem Next, it was supposed to be called.
Yes, that's right. Anthem Next. And I was planning on, when that happened, that's when I'll go ahead and dive in and play the game, is when it gets the definitive version. And then that got scrapped and never happened. So I just wrote it off. I was never going to play it. But then you convinced me to play it. Overall, I didn't dislike the game. It just had so much potential to be great, and it was just very mediocre. I had fun with the game. There were, like you said, it's a looter shooter, so you're constantly getting loot from each mission. The level at which you increase your level, so to speak, so it's very much like Destiny, in that, like in Destiny, you have a light level. It's very similar to that, where you have, each javelin has like 10 equipment slots, and each one of your pieces of equipment has a number on it, and that's like kind of like the level of that equipment, which would be equivalent to your light level in Destiny. And all of those numbers added together give you your basically give you your level. So there's only it doesn't have a level number, although it shows you a number for what all those equipment numbers added together are. But the only thing that really affects is there's an achievement for completing a mission with a uncommon rarity javelin, a rare, and like a legendary. And how those levels are determined is by your gear score, essentially. So like uncommon was like you had to have like 140 points of gear, and then like rare was like 500, and then like legendary was like 740 or something like that. There is masterwork is the second highest, and then legendary is the highest. And it was like blue was rare. I think green was uncommon, blue was rare, purple was, I forget what the term for that they called it was. Then orange was masterwork, and then yellow/gold is legendary. So there was no achievement for reaching a legendary level, but I unfortunately I did reach that one. But you only have to get your level to masterwork. So, but even if you have all of your equipment in every single slot is legendary or let's say rare, for example, even if every piece of equipment in every slot is rare, so is blue, that doesn't necessarily mean your javelin level is rare. It's based on that point value. So you have to hit a certain point value in order for your javelin to be considered rare level rarity. But there was a lot of equipment. There was the javelin achievements I mentioned. So there's like basically 4 main categories of those equipment slots. And there was an achievement for completing 3 like world events. So there's the missions that you go out into and play through the story of each mission as you go through the campaign. And then there's also the free roam mode where you kind of just go around and there's world events that anyone who's nearby can partake in. And so you had to complete 3 of those with 1 piece of equipment in order to get that piece of equipment checked off your list. And there's 12 pieces of gear for each javelin, but you can have like 4 of them equipped at the same time. But you can basically work on 4 of them at a time, but you have to have had that item drop for you. So there was definitely some RNG where like I had completed all 11 of the 12 challenges for a javelin, and I was just waiting for that last item to drop. And then once I got it, then I was able to go and complete that challenge by doing 3 more world events with that item equipped. And that helped you kind of fit. I would recommend doing that first. I mean, the game shuts down in about a month. I believe the shutdown date is January 12th, which is definitely plenty enough time to 100% it between now and then. It does say it's a 50 to 60 hour completion. It took me a little over 100 hours because a lot of the RNG, but it's definitely still doable. But doing those challenges, I recommend doing those first thing whenever you unlock a new javelin, because it kind of gets you familiar with the different equipment that you get for each slot, and you can kind of it'll help you determine kind of your play style and how you want to play it, because very much like the Mass Effect 3 abilities, where you have some abilities that will prime enemies, and then you have other abilities that will detonate. And if you prime them with 1 power and then hit them with another that detonates, it does a combo and does like drastically more damage than either of those abilities do by themselves. So that doing those challenges will help you figure out what pieces of equipment you like and kind of how you want to play it. But overall, there's the starting javelin, which is the ranger, which is the one that's kind of the jack of all trades, master of none. And then the next one that I unlocked, because that's the one you start out with, but the other 3 you can pick in whichever order you want. The next one I picked was the interceptor, which is a very fast, light javelin, and it kind of focuses on melee. I did not like that one, so I basically, as soon as I finished all the challenges for that one, I switched and never used it again. The next one I unlocked was the Storm, which is the one we're seeing. Sorry, I did the Storm last. The third one I unlocked was the Colossus, which is the big, heavy mech. It looks kind of like the Hulkbuster armor from Iron Man's Hulkbuster armor. And that's the one I probably used for about 90% of my gameplay. That was my favorite one by far. And it also, one of the reasons why is because there are 2 weapon types that only the Colossus can use and none of the other javelin types can use. And that was the auto cannons. And that was my favorite weapon type. And then it had just its abilities. I really enjoyed the complement of equipment that it had. So I just really enjoyed playing most of it. It's a little bit slower than the other ones, but it was worth it in my opinion, because he's also very difficult to kill. And then the last one I unlocked was the Storm, which we're seeing here. And that one is very focused on using the different elements. Because there's fire element, there's ice element, and there's electricity element. So he uses, or not necessarily he, because you can play as a male or a female, but the Storm Javelin is focused around using the different elemental powers. And it was probably my second favorite javelin. But like I said, I spent almost all my time as the Colossus. And one thing is that at the beginning of, any time when you're in the mission select, you can pick what difficulty level. I played almost all of the game because I was, like I said, I spent basically the entire game playing by myself. So I left it on the baby easy difficulty level. And the only thing that did, like, I rarely ever died. But it just made my progression be a little bit slower. But once I was at the end and I had lots of high level equipment, I kicked it up. And then I got I was able to get higher level equipment at the end of the game pretty quickly, so that I could get those, I could get my javelin rarity higher. So if you're worried about the difficulty, I would say, play it on a lower difficulty and then crank it up later on once you have a lot of equipment. And I think I only died like 2 or 3 times late in the game after I started playing with the difficulty higher because I had a lot of high level equipment. And then one other thing is that, like I said in the demo, I had just random people with me. That's how the game plays too. If you just pick a mission, that's my by far my biggest issue with the game is the loading screens were not as bad as they were in the demo, where I had like 5 or 6 just over the course of one mission. But the loading, they cleaned it up so there's basically one loading screen at the beginning of the mission. Sometimes there's some missions where you have to go inside a cave and there's a loading screen, but it's very quick. But the beginning loading screen at the beginning of every mission is retardedly long, and I was playing this on my Series X.
Yeah, that's true. It is terrible.
Booting up the game and getting to the splash screen and then getting into the game takes for freaking ever. So whenever I played it, I would boot it up and then I'd like go into the other room and come back. So it was at the splash screen where then you have to push A twice before it actually gets you into the game. And then I'd go into the other room for a couple minutes and then come back, and then I'd finally be in the game. And then I would pick a mission and hit start, and then I'd go do something else. And then I'd come back a couple minutes later when the game was, when the level actually started. And part of that is because it'll throw random people in your game. So it spends especially since there's so few people playing it now, even though, it's been announced that it's shutting down. So I bet it's probably more active now than it was. But it spends a few minutes trying to matchmake you with people before it even starts loading the mission. And if it doesn't have anybody to matchmake you with, it'll go like 5 minutes before it gives up and throws you into the mission. So what I did is when you're picking your mission, if you click the right joystick, it'll pull up your privacy settings. I played the entire game on private mode, which you can only do in the missions. When you're doing the free roam mode, which I mentioned, you can't put that to private because people will just be running around just like Destiny when you're out on patrol. But each of the story missions, you can put on private so that no one else will join you. So that way you can actually pay more attention to the story and not have people running off and beating the level when you have no idea what's going on. And it also skips the matchmaking section of the loading. So it loads the levels. It's still long, but it loads the levels way faster than if you do the matchmaking.
Okay.
So I highly recommend anytime you're doing a story mission, set it to private. And that's also where, it's like, I don't know if I can do this solo. Go ahead and turn the difficulty down. It's not going to set you back that much. So, but yeah, that the length of time for the loading screens is by far, bar none, my biggest issue with the game, because the load screens were just stupid long. But the story was very meh. The shooting and the shooting was good. There are, like I said, there are a bunch of different like weapon types, but each gun in each category, it's not like Mass Effect where Mass Effect 3, like you have your assault rifle category, and every single gun in the assault rifle category feels different than the other. And for certain characters, this assault rifle might be better than this assault rifle, or every single sniper rifle feels different than the other sniper rifles. This game is basically every gun in one category is exactly the same with slight differences and might have slightly different numbers, but they all operate almost identical, with the exception of like there was one sniper rifle where you had to charge up the shot in order to shoot it before you could actually shoot the round. But yeah, most of the guns in each category are basically take your pick. Whatever one has the highest number, it's not going to basically make much of a difference, other than see number go up. So that could have been better. But like I said, I enjoyed it. It was a great podcast game because there was if you just complete like all the challenges, you'll get and you beat the story, you'll get probably like 75% of the achievements. So being a completionist, and it's going to be shutting down. So in January 12th, you're no longer be able to play it and get any of the achievements. So I was like, I absolutely, no matter what, hands down, without a doubt, will do whatever it takes to get all the achievements in the game once I got the first achievement in the game. So if you're looking at the difficulty ratio, On true achievements, the highest one, with the exception of one, is like a 2.5, which is not very difficult. So if it's very easy to get basically all those achievements. There's one achievement that is kind of a pain, and that ratio is 7.5. So it's quite a bit higher than all the other ones. It's not difficult. It's just a giant pain in the ass because it's basically for finding every single collectible item in the game, and there are a crap load of them, and some of them are in specific spots, so you can just easily follow a guide, but some of them are random, and they jump around the map, and you just have to go into the free roam mode and just wander around until you find it. So that's where a lot of the RNG, and the reason why it's, the completion time said 50 to 60 hours, and took me about 110, because I spent a lot of time just flying around the free roam mode looking for these collectibles. But it made for a great podcast game because there's nothing consequential going on, so I could just listen to stuff while I kind of grind out just finding collectibles and running around shooting stuff. And overall, I enjoyed my time, and I think this game got way more hate than it deserved.
Alrighty. AC says here, I still need to find time to play Journey to the Savage Planet with Neo.
Absolutely. I look forward to it because I love that game.
Yeah. My experience with Anthem was all my friends bailed on me, and I did not play it after that.
Are you still planning on 100%ing it before the end?
I gotta figure out some time. There's been a lot of stuff that's been changing in my life, and I want to find time, but also now I've been streaming a lot more too. So it's like trying to find that perfect work-life balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah, understandable.
Yeah.
So I think going for all but that one collectible achievement is not too bad, but that one collectible achievement is a royal pain in the butt.
Yeah, it's more so I want to do this, but there's other fun games I'd rather play with people. Like this one was just I don't want to restart, and I don't even want to relearn. I feel like this is just one of those ones where it's it's a dead IP. I'll just let it kind of sit there in my collection again.
One other thing to point out, in case anyone listening happens to play it, one thing that helped, like I said, there's achievements for getting your javelin to different rarities. So even at the end, when if I was to go and beat him, every time you beat a mission, you'll get gear drops. Basically every item that drops is only level 38, has a gear value of 38. And then sometimes occasionally you'll get a masterwork item that drops in the 60s range, and the legendaries will drop in the 70 to 80. 80 is the highest value you can get for any single gear item. So like I said, in order to get that last rarity achievement, you have to get 740 points, which unless you're getting in my 110 hours, I probably had 50 or 60 of the masterwork items drop. Later on, they come quite frequently, but I only ever got one gold legendary item to drop in the entire time that I played.
Oh, fun.
So, but there is a store in the fort, which is kind of the hub world, that it cycles every week. And it has a bunch of legendary items available for sale using in-game currency. It's only one item, so you could buy it, so you could equip it to one for you could buy it 4 times, so you can equip one to each of your 4 javelins. But it's not like random where you buy it this time and it's one item, then you buy it again, it's another item. It's the same item until the store resets the next week. So that is another thing that greatly helped jump my javelin's rarity up from getting level 38 gear up to level 80 gear. So check that store every week. Like I said, we've got about a month left, so you have 4 or 5 more store resets before the game gets shut down. And the items are not very expensive. They're 2,000 in-game currency, which I think even after spending a lot on them, I think I still have, if I was to boot up the game right now, I think I have 130,000 currency. So go check that store. It's right next to where your javelins are being worked on and maintenance when you're not in a mission. It's right next to it. And you can go and buy a couple different ones, because there's 3 or 4 different categories. So you can get a couple of them per week. Or one. Oh, that's right. One of them is for a piece of equipment, and another one is for a gun. So, but the same thing. The gun is always the same gun until the store resets. So, and you can hold 2 guns at a time, your primary and your secondary. So it just can't be 2 of the same gun. So, yeah. So go to that store and buy, at least one of each of those each week, and that'll help jump your Javelin's rarity up to get to that rarity level required in order to get those achievements. It'll make it a lot easier.
All right, cool. There you go, Anthem. Basically a dead IP, so hurry up and get your rocks off before it goes bye-bye. Okay, cool. I'm going to move on now to my 4th game. And I'm going to pick a more of a short one here, too, because I haven't beat this one yet. But I've been playing it on my channel. And that is the good old LucasArts classic, or Mr. Grim Fandango here. A good old-fashioned point-and-click adventure game from like the 90s, a big PC game. Before I begin, Neo, did you ever hear about Grim Fandango?
I remember seeing this back in the day when I was a kid. I didn't know anything about it, but I remember seeing this because the Lucas era point and clicks from back in the day. There was the 3 that are kind of grouped together is Grim Fandango,
Yep.
Full Throttle,
Yep.
and Day of the Tentacle.
Yep.
I have played all 3 of them. They are on Game Pass. This was the one I played most recently. I think I did Full Throttle first because I never played through them in their Full Throttle is the only one of those 3 that I actually played as a kid. Although I only played it for a few minutes at a friend's house, but I've always been a fan of motorcycles, so I always thought that one was really cool. But I never actually played through it in its entirety until like last year, the year before, when I played them all on Game Pass. But I played Full Throttle, then I played Day of the Tentacle, and then I did this one. So this is the one that I played most recently, but it was at least a year, if not 2 years ago, that I played it. But yeah, I have played it in its entirety, got all the achievements. Played it for the first time not all that long ago.
Yeah. Basically, I've just been trying to get back into this backlog of games I missed growing up. When I was growing up, everyone talked about Grim Fandango as like one of the best examples of like writing in a game. This was also when Tim Schafer was at LucasArts too, before he went out on his own to found Double Fine, which they themselves did all the remasters too. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, I pulled it up here to take a look to see when I played it. I played it in November of 21, so it's been 4 years now since I played. I didn't realize it was that far back, but yeah, Double Fine is listed here on the remaster, and I know a lot of people have a lot of nostalgia for this game.
Yeah, and I've been playing it like on my stream, like I said, and I've been really enjoying the writing so far of it.
And what are you playing it on?
PC.
And are you playing like Steam, or are you playing the Xbox version on PC?
I'm doing the Xbox version of it because during the Black Friday sale, like all 3 of them were on sale for like $2.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, let's just buy them, and just kind of have them. I kind of. We'll go on.
No, go ahead and finish your thought.
Like I said, I want to like get into more of these like I want to do like a game stream like a couple times a month, but I also am a person who is not exactly, I would say, fun to watch because I'm kind of like a always piece of candy, kind of autistically check all the locks and everything type of person. So I've been trying to look at these more focused like linear kind of point and click adventure games to stream because they let me do all that, but it's actually entertaining to watch. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah. The one thing I was going to mention is because it is play anywhere. The console version has tank controls. There's an achievement for beating the game with tank controls, but if you just play on PC, you can just use the mouse to click to tell them where to go, so you don't have to bother with the tank controls.
Yeah, and it's funny because in that achievement too, it says Tim just demands this achievement to exist. I don't know if you caught that flavor text.
Yeah, I didn't read it, but it's called The Right Way. Yeah, play the whole game with tank controls. Tim demanded this achievement. That's funny.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny when I was looking at it. But no, you play as a guy who is a Grim Reaper, and his name is Manny Calavera. And basically he works for the Department of Death, and the setup to it is very funny. It's just like you don't know why he has to pay off this time, but he's trying to sell people like souls to like, oh, you gotta get to heaven by taking like the super duper awesome mega awesome boat trip or something. I'll get you there in 4 days. But he keeps getting skunked, and he's like, "Why do I? All my clients have to walk across the desert with a stick?" And you go get commission and stuff like that. And so far, like the storyline, like takes a very weird, drastic turn where it's like "Viva la Revolucion" kind of stuff that is going on. And overall, it's got that really fun, classic like '90s like witty humor. Like obviously everything is based off of the Day of the Dead kind of like feeling to it. Like they basically take place every year on Day de los Muertos, and I did enjoy this like how can I say this? The last time I saw something like this was there was a comic book called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, and like their depiction of hell is basically people just constantly building stuff, getting bored, and moving on, and building new cities, getting bored, and moving on. So it kind of like reminded me a little bit of that in here, where it's
Okay.
like these people are just like even made the afterlife like this big consumer corporate like thing where it's like, oh, you got to upsell them, and like the Grim Reaper is not really like this like daunting like figure. Like Manny Calavera is like very short, you know I should say, and like he has to wear stilts to be like an imposing Grim Reaper when he reaps these souls. So I thought that was pretty funny. And it's just like you go into the afterlife, it's everyone's just like drinking, smoking, just kind of being like, yeah, we're just stuck here. It's gonna take us forever to get to heaven. We gave up.
Yeah, it's like I took it as it was purgatory.
Yeah, it's got like this really fun social commentary that kind of still holds up to this day, but it's also very wacky and weird. Like, Glottis is the guy that's driving around this little like car that you see right here. He's a demon, and like all the demons basically are like the only people who are allowed to drive in this part of the afterlife, because otherwise they'll just all skip town. So like it's got this really well written, well worked out lore. I know that these aren't like super long games. Like I think I'm almost done, like halfway through the game. I was looking ahead. It's like a 4-year cycle, so I'm getting close to finishing up year 2.
Okay, yeah. My last achievement, besides the unlock all achievements, was spend 4 years in the 8th underworld. So I think that's the beat the game achievement.
Yeah. So generally speaking, there's not really too much to say other than it's a fun, story based game, really well written, and I think Grim Fandango in particular has always been looked at and talked about as like one of those like pivotal.
Pivotal.
Yeah,
There you go.
pivotal. Like point and click adventure games. This and Monkey's Island are like
Yes.
the two goats that everyone talks about. But it's been a game that I've heard about since I was a child, and I finally just sat down and said, you know what, I want to play this. I want to stream this, and I'm starting to see why people really love it. Definitely one of the better point and click adventure games out there. I like the theming. I like spooky kind of like all that, sugar skulls and stuff like that. Halloween is my time. I wouldn't say that this game is spooky, but it
Yeah,
is.
I agree.
It gives me that like Tim Burton Nightmare Before Christmas esque feeling that I really do enjoy,
Absolutely.
and I can't wait to finish it. And I don't really have too much else to add to this conversation besides, it's a point and click adventure game. It's all about writing in these type of games. It's a just a step above a visual novel, and the
Yes.
puzzles and everything else in this game too. Like there was a time like, what the hell do I do? Because it's old school, so they don't really give you too many hints.
And
And
there's
never,
some because there can be some convoluted puzzle solutions.
yeah, like so, like there's one where it's like you got to figure out how to shut down this machine, and then you gotta like basically get these balloons, fill the balloons up with like goop, and then goop up the machine. But then you also gotta make sure you gotta unlatch the door, so it can, like, when the guy tries to shut it, the door doesn't shut completely. And I messed up on that part one time because it doesn't really make it clear that you have to unlatch this lock. So it's rewarding, I guess you could say. We finally figure it out. It's like, I feel smart. But a lot of times I just feel like, okay, what am I doing wrong? I just feel like I feel almost like I am in the remedial class sometimes. It's like, what am I doing wrong here, folks? But you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say is so yeah, I remember seeing the cover of the box back when we had boxed PC games back when this was new, and I always thought it looked interesting, but I literally knew nothing about the game. I had no idea what even genre it was. I just remember seeing the cover of it and seeing a Grim Reaper on it, and I've never been, you know me, I'm not a fan of spooky stuff, but like you said. I wouldn't call this a spooky game, but I didn't know that. I just saw a Grim Reaper on the front of the box, and I wasn't interested in playing it. Then many years later, actually, heard people talk about it and how much they love it, and I kind of looked into it, and it was, I don't know what kind of game I was expecting it to be, but it wasn't a point and click. And then when I found out it was a point and click, I'm like, oh, okay. Then I was, I'm not huge on point and click adventures, but I definitely, at that point, I was definitely more interested in playing it. It's just I didn't get around to actually playing it until it was on Game Pass.
Yeah, this is like what I like to call a proto Double Fine type of game.
Yes.
And I love this. I'm loving this game a lot. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Tim Schafer and Double Fine. So I want to go back and play his earlier works. And so far, this one's not disappointing. I can't wait to play more. And I will be streaming this next Tuesday. So if you want to stop by and check it out again, there you go.
Not directly related, but basically like the spiritual successor to these LucasArts point and click games. A game developed by Terrible Toy Box, which is a bunch of ex LucasArts devs. They made a point and click adventure called Thimbleweed Park. So if you haven't heard about Thimbleweed Park and you like Lucas era point and click adventures, go give that one check that one out. It used to be on Game Pass. It's not anymore, but I panic played it before it left Game Pass.
Yeah, and Grim Fandango is on everything now too. It was even on Vita, which I kind of want to have for like.
Really?
Yeah. So I know it was available as one of PlayStation's games. When it was like PlayStation Plus games, and
Okay.
I think the Vita version was one of them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I remember one puzzle that if I remember correctly, I remember one puzzle that I had trouble with was there were like these 4 like hoses that you have to like drive or step on them in a certain order. And that I remember that one standing out. And I think the reason why it stands out in my mind is because I had trouble figuring that one out.
Yeah, I had trouble with that one too, where it's like, okay, Gladius has to go up there and he's like got to spin the wheel and then you got to run it over properly.
Yes.
So I know that all too well. All right, that's all I have to say about Grim Fandango. Go check it out. I definitely want to get these physically for my collection because.
And so does Canadian.
I know. I want the Vita version now. Yeah, same. I think I do, but I have to reactivate my subscription to get it. All right. That's all I have to say. How about you there, Neo? What would you like to say next?
All right. So my next one up here is one that has had a lot of controversy lately, and in my opinion, needlessly, and just came out and is the long-awaited sequel to my second favorite franchise of all time. That is Metroid Prime 4. I got my box right up there behind me. It's very small, so you can't see it. But this is the first game I pre-ordered since Destiny in 2014. And, like I said, I'm very frugal and patient, so I rarely buy games until they're like 50% off with all the DLC. But Nintendo games, that's not really a thing. They don't really ever go on sale, at least not that steep of a sale. But given that this is my, Metroid Prime Remastered is my third favorite game of all time, and I absolutely love Metroid Primes 2 and 3. I've been excited, I was arguing with Brian on Twitter the other day because people keep saying it's 8 years in the making. It's like, well, yes, 8 years since it was announced in 2017. But I've been waiting for this since 2007, which is when Metroid Prime 3 came out, even though there was nothing announced until 2017. I was still waiting for another game in the franchise. And so I was like, second favorite franchise of all time. And Nintendo has a good track record for releasing not broken games on release. So I felt
I can't really think of a broken game I ever got from Nintendo. I've heard I would say bad performing, but I wouldn't say it was broken.
Right? Yeah, it's like they may not release some of their games may not sell all that well, but they are, they perform. They're not broken with bugs and glitches like a lot of the other AAA industry. So, okay, bro, nobody was waiting for this game since 2007. I was, because I loved Metroid Prime games. So it's finally here, and I was like, that's a good enough reason to buy it day one. Yes. So I bought this and streamed it day one. No one thought they would make a Prime 4 after Phase and Arc ended. Yes, that is true, but I was always holding out hope that there would be another game in the franchise because I always wanted more Metroid Prime, and I often rant on streams how since 2007 we've had almost zero first-person Metroidvanias. I'm surprised that there have been basically no Metroid Prime clones. I could count the number of Metroid Prime clones we have like on one hand. So, but anyways, so I streamed it for about 4 hours, I think, on day one. That would have been last Thursday, and then I did about 6 hour stream for this last Monday's Metroidvania Monday, continuing off. Canadian, I don't know. He was in my chat at the time I was playing it. Probably not quite here because he showed up later in the stream, but he was farther than I was at the point. I don't know if he's since finished it. I would assume that he probably
did beat it. Yeah,
he did post it. Yeah. Okay. So it seems I've been trying to avoid almost everything as much as I can about the game. Obviously, I knew about like Miles going into the game. But story-wise, I've been avoiding everything. I have a bunch of Metroid Prime videos lined up in my playlist to watch after I beat the game, but I'm trying to avoid everything and be as objective as possible and not have other people's opinions taint my own. So I have been avoiding a lot of the coverage on it.
And yeah, it's so tough to do that too because it's such a high-profile Nintendo IP with the reboot of the this game was like rebooted from the scratch,
Yeah, because they were almost done with the game and they scrapped it and started over from scratch. Yeah. When they had it mostly done. So not only is it like a reboot of the franchise, because there is no, as far as I've played so far, slight spoilers, there have not been any Metroids in this Metroid Prime game. But yeah, so it's a soft reboot of Metroid Prime series. And they also rebooted the development of the game midway through development. So, but anyways, where I was going with that was I was talking to, you early on in the game, you find out that you have to find these 5 teleporter keys in order to reach what they kind of indicates is like the end of the game. And after I've got, my Switch is in the other room, so I can't pull it up to see what my actual in-game playtime is, but it's probably around 8 hours. And I have 3 of them already. So, and I was talking to Katie, and I was like, hey, you get the 5 teleporter keys, and is that then you're basically at the end game, or is that like a midway point, and then there's like a whole second half of the game? He told me that no, that basically takes you into the end of the game. So it's not a terribly long game. I suspect that I could beat it on this upcoming Monday's Metroidvania Monday, and if I don't beat it on this upcoming Monday, I'll probably beat it on the Monday after, which would be, So it's very likely that I will beat it before the end of the year, much less before the end of our challenge. So it seems like it's not a terribly long game. Much shorter than I would say than my first playthrough of the previous 3 Prime games, because I have beaten Primes 1 and 2 in short period of time because I've played them both for Metroid for retro achievements, and Metroid Prime 1 has an achievement for beating it in 3.5 hours. And that was the very first retro achievement game I ever got all the achievements for. And then Metroid Prime 2, which I haven't gotten speedrun achievement yet, but I will. And that one, I think, is beat Metroid Prime 2 in 3.5 hours. Or it might be the other way around. I forget which one is 4 hours, which one is 3.5. But they're each of those. So you can beat them quickly, especially if you're going for a speed run.
AC has to put this up here, and I paused this at the right time. I guess all the bosses are actually Metroid fusions.
Oh, okay. So they're, because that's another thing we still haven't found out yet, because Metroid Prime 1, 2, and 3 all take place between the original Metroid and Metroid 2. Because in the main line series game, the 2D games, you wipe out all the Metroids. So it's like, how would there be Metroids in the Metroid Prime games if they've all been wiped out, if they didn't take place earlier in the timeline? The Metroids that fuse with the bosses in here, I believe, are not actual Metroids. They're Mocktroids, which are basically lab-grown Metroids that are not true Metroids. So technically there are, Metroids, they look like Metroids, but they're not true Metroids. So it kind of depends on, how you view Mocktroids, on whether they are, that counts as having Metroids in the game or not. So, but yeah, they do show up and buff the bosses and make them stronger than they would have been without it. So, thank you for pointing that out, Canadian. I forgot about that point. But, anyways, so it's likely I'll beat it in another stream or two. But that's what I was talking about, the time it takes. The Metroid Primes 1 and 2 on my first playthroughs of each of those probably took at least 20 hours going for the 100%. I don't know if I'm going to go for the 100%. What I'll probably do is I'll probably just beat the story on stream, and then I'll go and wrap up all the items, get the 100% off stream. But even so, I don't think it's going to take anywhere near that long to get 100% in this one. So it does feel like I haven't beaten it yet, but based on the fact that Canadian told me that once you get the 5 keys, you're basically at the end of the game, it seems like a much shorter game than the previous Metroid Primes. But overall, I have really enjoyed my time with it. It is not mind-blowing. So, after, I'm going to say 18 years since our last Metroid Prime game, it's not like the next big thing in the franchise. I am enjoying it. I'm having fun with it, but it's not. I wouldn't say it's not living up to my expectations, because I didn't have the highest expectations for the game to begin with, given how long it's been since we had a game. And when they announced the Viola, the motorcycle, and Miles McKenzie, definitely brought my anticipation for the game down. So I didn't have the hugest expectations for the game, but I would say that they're meeting my expectations. It's more of what I would expect from a Metroid Prime game. The gameplay feels like a Metroid Prime game. Like I said, I don't think that a large open world in the middle of the map fits in a Metroid Prime game. I don't think that there should have a giant open space in the middle that you need a motorcycle to traverse. It feels antithetical to a Metroid Prime game. But I don't think it feels that far removed from a Metroid Prime game. Would I rather have had it a smaller area with no vehicle? Yes, but I still think it feels Metroid Prime enough. My biggest... Oh, and the other thing is, yeah, Miles is a little bit annoying, but he's been blown way out of proportion. He's there with you for like 20 or 30 minutes early on in the game, and then he talks to you over the radio, like maybe every couple hours. He says a couple lines, and then you go back. You get upgrade chips that you need to go take to him so he can modify them so it'll work with your suit. You have to do that a few times. And so you barely interact with him over the course of the 6 to 8 hours I played, other than the 20 to 30 minutes he tags along with you at the beginning of the game. I spent maybe between 5 and 10 minutes with him after that. So I think he's been blown way out of proportion. Could he have been written better? Sure, but I don't think it's anything to get that worked up about. I think the big open world is more of a detriment to the franchise than Miles McKenzie is. What was the other thing I was going to say? Oh, my other biggest issue with the game, besides the kind of big open world in the middle and the motorcycle, is that you have like 3 separate areas that are all connected by the, we'll call it the Hyrule field. It's called the what is Neo at? Where is Neo at again with this game? I have 3 of the 5 teleporter keys, so I finished after getting the ice chip. Yeah, because the next one you get the fire chip, and then you get the ice chip, and then I think I'm pretty sure the third one you get is I don't know if it's called the thunder chip or the electric chip or the lightning chip or whatever, but it's electricity based. I don't have that one yet. I'm pretty sure that'll be the next one that I get, because there are electrical based abilities that I need in order to progress, and I don't have that. So I'm pretty sure that the next chip is going to be the electrical chip. But my biggest issue is that you have this, what's it called? Soul Desert or Soul Valley or something. It's the connecting world in between. And they likened it to Hyrule Field in the Zelda games, that is a perfect analogy, which I don't think belongs in a Metroid game. But each of the main areas there's like 4 or 5 main areas that are all branched off of this one connecting area, and there's no way to get from one area to the other without going through the big open desert in the middle, which is also very antithetical to the map design of a Metroid game. Metroid games, you typically have a bunch of different areas, but they are all interconnecting with each other. So you can go, like Metroid Fusion is like a great example. So there's the like the main hub, and then there's 6 different environmental areas, but you can take the elevator from any one of those areas back up to the main area, but each and every one of those areas also has connecting areas. So area 1 may have a hallway that goes to area 4, and area 5 may have a connecting area that goes to area 3. And so they're all interconnected. As far as I can tell, there isn't that at all in this game. Everything in one area is isolated, and there's no way to get to another area without going to the desert first and then going to the other area. So that's another one of my probably my main issue with the game from a design standpoint, is there's no interconnectivity between the different areas, which is very antithetical to a Metroid game. Soul Valley, thank you, Canadian. So but overall I am enjoying it. It's not blowing my socks off, but it is basically everything I would expect and want from another Metroid Prime game. So I would say it's meeting my expectations.
Okay, fair enough. I have no opinions about this series because I haven't really played it. I've been slacking.
I challenged you to the first one. I don't think you played it yet, right?
I have it downloaded. It's just I haven't sat down. It's on the to-do list as everything else is.
Same here, because you challenged me to Blue Dragon. I have it downloaded, but I have not played it.
Yeah, exactly.
And I definitely won't be playing it before the end of the challenge, that's for sure.
AC said, that's the biggest fault this game has. You are forced to travel through the desert each time you want to visit a different area.
Yep. Yeah, that's probably my biggest complaint with the game, is just the lack of interconnectivity between the different areas, which is what every other Metroid game does. Some of them do it better than others, but they all have that. This is like the first one where there's no interconnectivity between the different areas.
Okay. Any closing thoughts before we move on?
I think if a lot of people may have been turned off to it because of all the non-traversy, I think if you want to play it, go ahead and do it. You'll probably enjoy yourself. Just don't have too high of expectations, and I don't say don't have no expectations, but just temper your expectations, and I think you'll have a good time. If you are a fan of Metroid, I think you'll enjoy the game.
I would say this: go into it and have your own free will.
Yeah, make up your own damn mind.
Make free will great again. That's what I always say. And don't let other people tell you how to have fun. Because I've seen a lot of this with a lot of video games online. these like weirdos that like hang out with like these groupthink, and then they have to like grovel to like say they're having fun with the game. Don't be like that. If you are genuinely enjoying something and you have to sit there and grovel to basically justify that you're having fun, you should realize by now that you're in the wrong group of people if you have to apologize for liking something.
Yeah. One last thing is like I said, I'm enjoying it, but it's not like when I'm not playing it, I'm like thinking about it and I can't wait to play it again. That's the other thing is I'm only doing it on stream. So, I played it on Metroidvania Monday. I won't be playing it again until Monday, and I'm only doing it on stream. But it's not like, oh boy, I can't wait for Monday so I can play it again because I decided to only do it on stream. Like I'll look forward to playing it when I do play it on Monday, but it's not like I'm like itching to get back to it. So it's not like one of those games that like hooked me where that's the only thing I can think about and I want to play it nonstop. It's like I'm enjoying it, but it's just not like I don't need it injected into my veins.
Nah, I feel you. My wife just got home, so I'm gonna have you do your number 5 then real quick while I take care of some stuff here, because I will come back and have some things to say about this game too.
I was going to say we both played this one, so we can both talk about it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start the little video here and make sure I can get my dogs outside before they start barking their heads off. So here we go. Go with your number 5 here.
All right, so my number 5 is another pretty short game. I know Carl played this recently, and it is on Game Pass. I just started it yesterday. I am about 80% of the way through the game. I'm getting pretty close to the end. And speaking of Double Fine, Double Fine's latest game, Keeper, which just came out. Let's see here. I know it came out quite recently. When did it come out? We forgot one last thing. Obviously, Metroid Prime 4. We've been trying to talk about what the game is on and stuff. Obviously, it's on Switch and Switch 2. I am playing the Switch 1 version, and I've had 0 performance issues. But anyways, Keeper. It is Double Fine. It came out October 17th, so it's quite recent. And yeah, Carl played it, and he's finished it. I have not yet. I will probably finish it tonight because it is not a long game. I have 10 out of the 13 achievements, and it is I would put it in the same vein as Herdling that I was talking about earlier. It's a relatively short game, and it's like a puzzle adventure game.
Yeah. I'm back, sir.
Okay, you're back already. So for anyone who doesn't know, you play as this sentient lighthouse, and you have this little bird creature is kind of like your familiar, and it kind of follows you around and helps you solve puzzles. And it's very different, but it's a very cutesy game, and it's very cozy. I think I used a term earlier when I was talking about Herdling, but whatever that term is I was using, this would definitely apply to this game as well. Yeah, you're this lighthouse that is apparently it's like post-apocalyptic, because like right after you start walking around, you're finding like houses and stuff. You're walking through them, so like this world used to be inhabited by people, but there are no more people, and somehow you're this sentient lighthouse with legs that and you're walking around, and there's some light puzzle solving puzzle solving element.
Yeah. Light puzzle and light exploration. How far are you at this game? Are you still the lighthouse?
So I just finished the water segment.
Okay.
So I think I'm pretty close to the end.
Yeah, you are.
So you play. I would say there's probably, if you were to break the game up, you break it up into thirds. There's the first part where you're playing as the walking lighthouse.
Yep.
Then not that there's really that much of a story to it, but I'll try not to spoil it because the gameplay does change when you get to the second segment. And I will just say that it's a water segment. And then after the water segment is
a roller section.
A roller segment. That'd be a good way to put it. That's where I just got to literally like an hour before we started the stream.
The best way I can describe that one is this game goes from like slow, methodical, clunky, wonky walking sim to like Tony Hawk Pro Skater.
Yes, I would say that's probably pretty accurate.
I love the end of this game, by the way. It's
okay.
Awesome.
So as I was just mentioning, this is literally the very beginning of the game. Is that, as you can see, there's buildings around, there's cars. So it's like this world used to be inhabited by people, but they're all gone now. But yeah, there's no dialogue in the game at all. It's I actually had this idea recently because of Cocoon. I gave me an idea for a future party chat topic for games. The best game that has no dialogue, because Cocoon, there's no dialogue in it at all. So this game would also fall in the category for potential picks for that. We'll do that topic on party chat at some point, but this Keeper and Cocoon would both qualify. I have to go look through all the rest of my games to, basically make a list of all the other dialogue list games that I've played before I could pick which one my favorite is. But anyways, that's unrelated. But the other thing is you could play through the entire game and the only achievement you get is the one for beating the game, because that is the only required achievement. All the other achievements in the game are for finding these hidden statues.
Yeah.
They're not difficult to find, so as long as you're exploring, you should come across them naturally. But there was one that even though I looked up I didn't look up a guide like how to solve the puzzles in order to get to them, but I just wanted to know where it was, so I didn't go past it. And even though I looked it up where it was, I still went past it because I missed it because it was well hidden. But most of them are not that far out of the way. But the other 12 achievements, because there's 13 in total, are for finding each of these statues, which I think the statues are there to. That's basically the story of the game, is in the achievement descriptions, which don't really tell you a whole lot.
It's environmental storytelling.
Yeah, it's definitely environmental storytelling. There's, like I said, there's no dialogue, so there's basically no story presented to you in the game. But it's got a very unique looking world. I like the art design of it. It has some interesting ideas. It's very light. I definitely classify it as an adventure game with some light puzzling elements. They're very basic, but it's a very short game. True Achievements has it listed at a 5 to 6 hour completion, which I'm at 7 hours, and I'm close to the end of the game. I'll probably finish it tonight after I eat dinner. But I've enjoyed my time with it. I like it. So what do you have to say about it, Carl? I know you enjoyed this game as well.
I'd say this game is like a 5-hour game for me, because I think I remember I played this a little bit before I went to Chili's with my wife, and then we came back from Chili's and I beat it probably in another 3 hours afterwards.
Did you get all the achievements?
No, I did. I got a bunch of them, but after a while I was just like, I'm not like really, I don't care as much as you. That's the best way to put it. So I kind of was just like, I want to get through this because I just want to experience the story. This is kind of like another one of the reasons why Double Fine is kind of like one of those like devs I really like. They always make something unique, and it's always very short. It's never, they don't make like these epic 80-hour JRPGs that take fucking forever to beat. They get like one and done games like Brutal Legend that could be beat in a day. Costume Quest can be beat in a day. And this was another game that's like you started and you beat it in a day. And I just like the little environmental storytelling, like the bird and the lighthouse. Ironically enough, they have like a pretty, bro relationship, I guess you could say, especially later on when you get like the baby bird.
Yeah, I like the little bird companion you have. It's this bird-like creature because it's actually more like a dragon because it has 4 legs and wings.
Griffin, that's what I could say. More like it's kind of more like a griffin.
Yeah, it's although it looks like a bird, it very much is a bird, but it's got 4 legs and wings rather than 2 legs. But I like this little bird companion that helps you solve puzzles, and then it has an egg that hatches, so you get a little baby bird that also helps you solve puzzles. So it's very that's the word I was looking for when I was talking about Herdling. That absolutely applies to this game. It's very charming.
There you go. That's a good word to use.
It's a very charming game.
Yeah, I feel like for me, with this game in particular, the one thing I really liked about this game is just how, kind of like Dave the Diver, the more you play it, the more this game evolves and changes. And that's like what I got with this game, where it's like you start off as a slow lighthouse, like it's got like this weird like world building stuff that happens to it, and you kind of like are learn about it, but then all of a sudden the lighthouse becomes a boat. And you're like, oh, whoa, I'm a boat. And then it's just like you're doing all this like crazy stuff as a boat. And then like the end of the game, the final third, which is when what I say is like the best part of the game. It just becomes this psychedelic, 2001 A Space Odyssey kind of fucking over the top madness with like Tony Hawk Pro Skater. It goes from like super slow to like high octane. And like this game is not like one of the ones that I think is like a million copy seller. I don't think it's one of the games that people will be like, "Oh man, this is my game of the year" or something like that. But this is one of those unique and interesting games that everyone tells you that they want to play and experience because nothing apparently is good in gaming if it's modern. But nobody will play this because reasons. Like they just see a sentient lighthouse and they don't go like, "Oh, that looks interesting and cool." They just kind of, you know, give up. And I think that's the travesty. This is a really good, interesting game. And I do think people should check it out any way they can. It's on Game Pass. I do think the big problem for me, though, this was a $30 full price game. I think this should be 20.
Yeah, 30 definitely seems a bit steep. But yeah, it's on Game Pass, and it is also Play Anywhere.
It's a mofo boat plane. No, it's a bird plane.
Yeah.
It's a bird plane. I'm more than a bird. I'm more than a plane. I'm a motherfucking bird plane.
So I am enjoying it. My one and only main critique about the game, and it is a bit annoying, is just the lack of camera controls. You have zero control over the camera at all because you move with the left stick and you control the lighthouse's eye with the right stick. So normally you move the camera with the right stick, but you only move the eye of the lighthouse with the right stick. The camera moves on its own. That is,
I think you can refocus the eye though, can't you?
You can refocus the eye, but it doesn't do anything to the camera. So you have that's my biggest issue with the game is
fixed camera angles. Not your favorite jam.
It's not fixed camera angles because the camera is always moving, but the fact that you have no control over the camera at all was a bit annoying for the water area, since there's sometimes where you need to move the camera to look in the direction you're going, but the camera's looking, you're basically going straight at the camera and you have no idea what's in front of you because it's behind the camera. So
yeah, I never had that issue. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. That never crossed my mind at all when I was playing this game.
So that's really my only critique of the game. Criticism is having zero. It would have been nice if there was a way to maybe like hold one of the triggers, and then when you're doing that, the right stick moves the camera rather than the lighthouse's eye. That would have been the easy fix. But that's my only issue is that you have no control over the camera.
Yeah, and from my opinion, for people out there, I never had an issue with that at all myself personally. So, I guess that's personal opinion. There you go on that one. That's right. I was gonna say preference, but that's not really a preference. It's opinion. Because I did not have any issue whatsoever.
But yeah, it's short. I only started it yesterday. Played for a couple hours before our stream. I was hoping to finish it before our stream, but I didn't quite make it. But I will very likely finish it tonight after the stream, after we have dinner, or after we finish the stream. I'll have dinner, and then I'll probably finish the game before I go to bed. So because it is quite short.
Yeah, my only thing is go play this game. Play this game. It's short. It's sweet. It's fun. If you have Game Pass, check it out. It's on sale right now for like $23, so I think that's almost the perfect price. And if you want to jump in, $23, not bad. I would say that.
And like Herdling, I wanted to have another game. I want to put another game under my belt for beating the game in the year it came out. Since that came out this year, I wanted to add another one to my list of games that came out this year that I actually beat.
Yes. Alrighty then. Love this game. Stick with it. It starts slow, but the ending is phenomenal. And unlike other games where they tell you, well, after the first 20 hours, then it becomes good. This is more like, no, after the first 2 hours, it becomes amazing. So that's my trade-off for you.
I would agree. I really enjoyed the water section.
Yeah, you're going to love this last one. I'll be shocked if you don't. Let's just say that much. Alrighty, so for me, my final game that I'm gonna share right now is a series that I played the first game. I want to say back in May. I want to say. I think I got it in our little Discord chat over here. Let me kind of look it up real quick. But yeah, I started playing this series because there was a giant collector's edition that came out, and it came with all 3 copies of that game.
We know why you played this series.
Yeah,
you're secretly a furry.
You know it. Can't wait. But yeah, I've been getting made fun of that constantly by AC for it. Here you got a question here while you can look this up.
Oh, have I? I have not played Revenge of the Savage Planet yet, but it is very high on the to-do list. So I will probably be doing that in January, would be my guess. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and Nerd Takes, you're still here. Hi, buddy. How you doing? Hope you're having a good day. Jeez, how far back did this go?
You can do a search.
I should have went to my Twitter. That's what I should have done.
So.
All the way back in, it says here, June. Went all the way back to June.
Okay.
So I beat the second game in the series last week, and I beat the third game in the series yesterday. So this one is called Melody of Steel's Fuga 3. Let's see over here. It's good. I think you'll enjoy it. There you go. Yep.
Oh, yeah. Revenge of the Savage Planet. I don't know if I'm going to like it more than Journey to the Savage Planet, because I absolutely adore that game, but I do know that I will enjoy Revenge of the Savage Planet. Absolutely.
So this game, to get back on to what I was saying here, this game is basically a side-scrolling JRPG with visual novel elements to it. I gotta say this. I have a very weird opinion about this game, because I think this game is very interesting because it's a very brutal storyline. So these are a bunch of little kids. Like, I think their ages are like 12 years old, 13 years old, something like that, like preteens and teenagers that get control of this like giant tank. And this tank is called the Taurus, and the Taurus has this weapon called the Soul Cannon. And what happens is, if one of you sustain enough damage or something like that, one of the little kids will go to the Soul Cannon and they sacrifice themselves and they die, but they shoot a super powerful ultra super attack that takes out pretty much all the enemies. And one of the things about these games is if they do that, it can mess up the kids' morale and stuff like that. So basically, it's a very dour and very brutal kind of game for that matter. In the second game, they also add a little bit more story elements and story beats like that. And the third game is they kind of answer a lot of these questions, but even still, it doesn't answer enough questions, if you ask me. So all these people that you see in this game, these dog and cat people, they actually are on planet Earth. That's kind of one of the things that you find out, because they don't exist in what they call the old world. They all are part of the new world. So what happens is all the humans wipe each other out, and then basically dogs and cats evolve and become the new dominant race on Earth. That's the long and short of the story. So there's a big war going on between these two nations, and I feel this one right here is one of the most insane starts to a video game in terms of just how over fucked up this game is, I would say. Because if you see right here, all these kids are beat up and they're talking about how everyone died and stuff like that. So at the beginning of every one of these games, they remind you about how the Soul Cannon works. And in the second game, you find out the Soul Cannon can only take the souls of innocent children.
Wow, that's messed up.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I say. I like these games because it's over the top, but they have this cutesy furry aesthetic. So it's just a lot of people go "What's this?" And then when you play it, you're like, "Yeah, what is this?" I can't even figure out what this is. But like I said, you figure out like a lot of like this stuff that's like going on with like the old world and stuff. But as I was saying, like at the beginning of every game, like they show you like the most fucked up scenario that could happen, and then what happens is you find out that there's like a force. I don't want to fully spoil everything, but there's like a force that's going on that forces you to constantly replay your mess ups. Like they keep giving you like a do over. So this world, like certain people have magical abilities that you find out. So it's basically part of like that magical ability that like you can foresee like the bad things before they happen. So in order to get the true ending, you want to try to avoid all that stuff and not like have any kids get sacrificed and so on and so forth. Like in the first two games, you have to like meet a criteria of like, I guess you could say a loyalty mission check, like kind of like a Mass Effect and stuff like that.
Okay.
So like they kind of do something, they kind of get rid of that though in this one, and it focuses more on the brutality of the story.
Oh joy, more brutality.
Yeah. So,
Is
go
the
on.
soul cannon part of that tank that we're seeing right there?
Yeah, the soul cannon is part of that tank.
Okay.
Like I think I can kind of speed this up a little bit, but like there's like how they fire it and stuff like that. So like this part right here, like you're gonna see like basically all these kids are about to like die. So like they're all getting ready to like sacrifice themselves, and like the tank just becomes like this insane, over the top like weapon of mass destruction and stuff like that. And basically what they do is they give you like a do-over kind of deal, you know. It's like, here's what will happen if you fuck up. That's what they basically do. And everyone is missing an eye. Well, yeah, like just to say Canadian, there's like 12 kids in like this story, and like if this is like the fuck up ending right here, so like they lost like 7 of them on the way here, and now all 5 of them are sacrificing their lives to just take out all the enemies, and the tank just becomes this like insane over the top thing, and just like fires this crazy like thing over here. Like this game is like unexpectedly like wild. That's the best way to say it. It's just like it looks more innocent and assuming, and then like underneath it, it's just like all this crazy like like deep lore and stuff like that. But overall, I would say like the combat in this game is pretty interesting. It's very turn based. It's very rock paper scissors, and you could get these crazy combos. In this game in particular, they add an assist system as well, so you can actually get outside characters to kind of help you and like do like combos and burns and stats and conditions and stuff like that. It's pretty cool, to say the least. Like these games are not like amazing. Like there's like in terms of like they're gonna blow your socks off and like be like your next greatest game, but like they're gonna be like enjoyable. Like, oh, I like this JRPG. I'll add this to a list of like interesting ones people should check out and kind of get like an idea for. They aren't going to make a 4th game. The devs themselves have said that there's no way that they're going to make a 4th game.
Okay.
So it is a nice concise trilogy, so that you don't have to worry about like, oh, are they going to make a sequel? Am I going to miss out on stuff? I know they cost like nothing to make. Like that's for sure. Like these are very simple graphics, as you can see, very still visual novel art and stuff like that. And on top of that too, I know they got a Game Pass deal as well. So like I know a lot of these games like ended up on Game Pass at some point in time.
Yeah, I think I don't know if all of them were, but I know some of them were at some point, but I don't think
All
they
of them
are
were,
now.
yeah.
They all were. Okay.
Number 3 is on there right now, and
Okay.
that came out this year. So this was like one of those interesting, over the top kind of like JRPGs with like interesting like elements to it. I always call this like it's a side-scrolling JRPG because the tank is not like you're not like going into like this weird world where you have to like go on this like massive overworld map or something. and it's like right on to that like very straight to the point kind of deal. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like you just move along, you collect things, you do your battles, you get your XPs, then you constantly have to talk with your crew. You have to constantly set up your tank, upgrade your weapons and that your party members and stuff like that. They add a more resource gathering in this game too, and there's a lot of big story beats to this game as well. I don't want to spoil it all because this is like a lot of lore dump that I'm doing just now, and even that's just probably like 1/10 of what I could really talk about. Like AC is so like, bro, what is this image?
He was talking about with the wolf with the ball gag.
Yeah, Malt right here, this guy, he's the main character. So he's kind of like the go-to guy. Basically, these little kids keep fucking up this whole like plan. So in this scenario that you're seeing right here, they basically kidnap Malt and then kill him so that that his friends can't like do anything right. So
Wow, harsh.
yeah, like I said, this is a very over the top kind of game in terms of story. But even then, there's like a lot of stuff that is not exactly, explained in the story too, which is one of my biggest gripes with it. Because they get like this big lore dump, and they give you like this whole big like side story and everything about it. But then there's like some things that happen in this game where it's like, well, why did this guy kill these two people? Don't know. Let's move on, and we'll worry about that eventually. And it's like it never gets addressed, it never gets answered, and I'm just like, why? Why did he kill those people? Like they were actually important people, but they just kind of like shake it off and brush it off,
Okay.
And like they do have like more like animal names that you would give like a pet. Like there's like socks and mittens and stuff like that. And then there's this guy over here too. His name is Blutwurst. And I'm like, what the hell? But yeah, overall, if you're looking for an interesting JRPG, if you're a fan and you want to try something new and kind of outside your like comfort zone and wheelhouse, I will say this. I went into this game going like, I don't know what to expect. It's like I saw it on Game Pass and I was like, I don't know. And then I saw it came with a collector's edition and there's all this like big hype around it. I'm like, is there like a huge fan base behind this game that I'm just not aware of? So I bought the collector's edition, and I played the first game. I was like, oh, okay, I get it a little bit. So I've become a fan. That's what I could say.
Because I've got them pulled up here, and it looks like at least on Xbox they're only available digitally. So your collector's edition, is that Xbox or is that a different platform?
They only released it physically for Switch.
Is that the one that you've been playing?
Yeah, I played these all on Switch.
Okay.
Because like they're like the more fun, like I said, I treated this as like my I'm going to bed game. And depending on like how hard the difficulty you have it set on, and that like you can get done in like a whole. It's like 12 chapters each. Each game is only 12 chapters long, so you could get like a chapter done, like before bed. So it's a very pick up and put down kind of game, which has kind of been like a good theme that I like to tell people because, we're getting older in Neo, so it's like people are having kids, people work different hours, and so on and so forth. So I always like to try to recommend games that are like easy to pick up and put down type of games, and this is definitely one of the prime examples of if you're a big JRPG fan, this is one of those good JRPGs that's like easy to pick up and put down kind of games.
Play in short bursts.
Yeah, it's like and the story's interesting enough to keep you, interested in it. It's a lot of time travel fuckery and a lot of like children dying for the cause, which is kind of funny to put it like that. But to get the true ending, like it's not that hard to get the true ending. You just need to do like some very simple things. A, don't let the kids die, and B, have like certain people build up friendships. But that's only for the first two games.
Okay. I also see that at least on Xbox they're $40 each.
Way too expensive.
That was gonna be my next question: are they $40 worthy?
Hell no.
Or
These are not $40 games. In fact, if you bought this game for $40, and it wasn't physical, you're smoking crack.
So
These games like are definitely wait for a deep sale game. $20 magical price tag is what I always say for every type of game like this. Like $20 max. If it gets below $20, then you just jump on it. The only reason I bought these, I think it cost me $100 for the collector's edition, is because it came with all three of them physically on separate, carts, and it
okay.
came with a whole bunch of other stuff. I might do an unboxing video of this for my channel now that I think about it later this week because I think it should be shown. These games are. I like the art style because it's like very like pastel-y kind of like what's that art style like when we were in like middle school and elementary school. It's not the same, but like that Stinky Cheese Man kind of look to it. Did you ever read that one?
I have no idea what that is.
Oh, you never seen the Stinky Cheese Man?
Never heard of it.
Oh my gosh, chat, help me out. I got to Google it. Stinky.
While you're looking that up, at least on Xbox, the third one has not been on sale, but 1 and 2 have both been on sale, 50% off for $20 each. So,
Right here. Come on, there we go. All right, this might help here a little bit. Stinky Cheese Man, where the hell did it go? Yeah, right here, Stinky Cheese Man.
okay. Yeah, never heard of this before, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me a little bit of that art style. It's not the same, obviously, but
It's similar, yeah.
yeah, it's similar. But that's really all I can say about these games. They're more mature than I ever thought they would be.
Yeah, they're much more mature than they lead on.
Yeah, and like I said, there's a lot of like if you play badly, they do have like you're like an idiot ending and stuff like that. Like the kids all have like a very interesting like friendship with each other, and that it's very stereotypical anime kind of writing. It's like with friendship we beat everything, you know. But
The
they're like kids, so it's like it's not like cringe. It's not like they're a bunch of like you know 30-year-old
real
white women, it's,
the real treasure was the friends that made along the way.
yes, and we didn't get sacrificed to the all-powerful soul cannon, you know what I mean? But that's what I mean. It does feel like a how can I say this? It feels like Stephen King's The It without the child orgy. There you go. That's the best way
Okay.
to say it. It's like a bunch of kids trying to fight an unstoppable evil, but they're also experiencing like the horrors of war, like and stuff like that. Like people end up in concentration camps, people end up being used for experiments in war. They lose their family members. Some of them. It's overall just it hits all the right notes of a good war story, mixed in with that like childlike innocence plus all the like stereotypical tropes of Japanese anime.
Okay.
Wow, that's what I could say. If I had to grade the whole series as a whole, it is like a good C. The combat's fine, the story's fine, the soundtrack is fine. You know, it's not necessarily a popcorn game where you just don't think about it too much.
Definitely doesn't seem like a popcorn
Yeah,
series.
but it's one of those like ones where if like you read the story and you go like, huh, I enjoyed that more than I thought I would, and then you kind of just binge watch it, and then you're like, I'll probably forget about this next year. But I enjoyed my ride while we had it. So that's
All right.
all I got to say about that. Neo, do you have any closing thoughts about that before we wrap up the show?
No. I had heard of the game, probably because it was on Game Pass, but I knew nothing about it until I think you talked about it on Party Chat the other day.
Yeah, but I am completely done with that trilogy. I think it ends on a relatively good note. The true endings are fine. I have not looked into the bad endings to see how messed up this series can get, and I will keep it that way for now. So, that's all I got to say. Neo, do you have anything else you would like to say before we start to do the plugs and outros and so on and so forth?
No, just if something looks interesting to you, go ahead and play it. Don't let anyone dissuade you from something you want to play.
Yes, exactly. Don't take our words for it. We're just some jagoffs online. Go and make your own opinions so you can also join the jagoffs online with an opinion. But at least it'll be yours. Neo, thank you for joining me on this one. Happy to be doing this new show and looking forward to doing more of these in the future.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah,
Deep dive into the games we've been playing.
Yeah, I hope a lot of people learned some interesting gaming takes here. I kind of wanted to start it off slow. We'll be back next week with a different kind of set of rules for our games that we're playing, because I know I talked about that, but we'll reveal that next week. Neo, what would you like to say about the show that you enjoyed so far before we head out?
Yeah, kind of just rehashing what I said at the beginning. When I started doing party chat, I wanted to go in a little bit more depth than most people usually do about what they've been playing. But this is just, cranking that up to 11 and really deep diving into what we've been playing. So I usually don't get into quite that much detail about the games that I've been playing. So it's good to, get my thoughts out there. And a lot more detailed on, rather than just saying, yeah, I'm playing this and I like it, or I'm playing this and I'm not really digging it. So to get into, why I may like it or why I may not like it.
Yeah, especially because the more that we'll do this, the more, better at conveying our thoughts we will get across,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's like the hardest part with doing this stuff is like, okay, what do I want to say? How do I want to say it? Am I rambling too much? Like that's stuff that always comes through my mind. So thank you everybody for stopping by, at least listening to my rambling and Neo's rambling. And hopefully you go check out some of these games and learn some more, you learned more about them, I should say. And maybe you'll go consider checking them out yourselves later on at a later date. Who knows? Especially because this year is kind of winding down. The holidays are fast approaching, so hopefully you'll maybe have some more time to play a few of these games, or maybe you'll bump some of them up from your backlog and get to battling them. There you go. Let's get cringe and call the title of the show.
There it was. He said it. He said it.
I said the line. Superhero landing. Neo, thank you again for being the co-host of the show. Look forward to many more of these into the future. You got anything you'd like to plug and talk about for yourself?
So I've got Metroidvania Monday. On Monday, as mentioned, I will be continuing Metroid Prime, and if it's as short as I think it is, I may beat it on Monday in just 3 streams. And then the only other thing after that for the rest of the year is, if I do beat Metroid Prime 4, I may take the following Monday off. We'll see. But we do have one more party chat that was going to be next Tuesday, but we're bumping it to the following Tuesday, the 23rd, so that everyone can be there because we had some scheduling conflicts. Mm-hmm. So we had to bump it back a week in order to get everyone on the panel. So that will be
my fault. That's what it was. It was my fault.
Wasn't going to point any fingers, but the last party chat of the year will be on the 23rd, and our good buddy Tyler from Game Shelf will be joining us.
Oh, awesome. That's great to hear, actually.
So because when you said that we originally moved it to 18th, and then you're like, oh wait, I already have something that day. I was like, since you're the one who introduced me to him, I wanted at least you two to be there. So since it all works out for everyone on the 23rd, I'm glad that. Otherwise, it was going to stay on the 18th. We were just going to miss you. So Tuesday the 23rd will be the last party chat of the year. We got Tyler joining us from Game Shelf, so that'll be a fun one. And then I won't be doing anything else until the new year,
except for the show. You'll be doing that as
well. I'll be back here for this show next week, Wednesday. But then we'll be back on the 7th, I believe.
Yep. All right, everyone. That link to his channel is in the comment section of this video. So go click it. I'll take you right there. Go subscribe to him on YouTube. Go check him out. Neo's a good guy. He's good people. Salt of the earth, as I like to say. As for me, we will be back tomorrow with Mr. Nerd Takes and whoever else would like to come on. It's kind of more open, so if you're free and you want to join the watch party, we're going to be going over the Game Awards. And we're going to be watching all the announcements because we don't really give a damn who probably wins these awards. We're just here to find out what new video game stuff is coming around. And oh boy, is there a lot of stuff that's being teased. Sega said they're going to be there. New Tomb Raider game's going to be there.
I heard about that.
There's just so much more stuff that's been teased today. It's like, I got my little newsroom where I post all like the stuff for the weekly updates, and I'm just like, I'm just gonna wait until after the Game Awards for a lot of this news. It's gonna be redundant and taking up space, but free invite for that if people want to stop by and join in the conversation, by all means. And of course, Nerd Takes Jay, another great man. Can't wait to sit down and just shoot the breeze with him because he is one of the best. After that, we will be back this Friday with Mr. Cream NATO, who will be doing the co-hosting for the weekly update show. I already put like the topics in there. Call of Duty, obviously the Game Awards recap, and I'm trying to remember the third one off the top of my head. Let me go over here real check. It says, and Capcom and their IP revival, which I sent you a thing there, Neo. You didn't respond to it though.
Did you DM directly to me, or was it in a
Yeah,
group?
it was directly to you.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Huh. I don't know how I missed that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, fuck me, I guess that's fine.
Oh, no, I did pull that up. I had heard someone mention a possible revival, or not necessarily a revival of that one of my favorite franchise, but that I heard on a stream that Capcom is focusing on a few of their neglected IPs, potentially.
Yeah, but that was like a whole big thing right there. I pulled that up for you. It has a bunch of information on there.
I would be very excited for one of those to make somewhat of a comeback.
Mm-hmm. And that will do it for about the rest of this week. Thank you, everybody, for stopping by. If you haven't already, please like the stream. And, if you're new here, maybe consider subscribing. Share this video out with your friends and your enemies. I will accept all of them. Either people who want to hear me or people don't. I will annoy your enemies all the same. And we will be back next week. We'll be back tomorrow. So that'll be early, though. I believe 6:30 Central Time for that. That's when we're going to start this because the Game Awards start pretty early. So everyone have yourself a wonderful night. Take care. And we will see you all tomorrow for the Game Awards stream. Until next time, stay sexy, stay active, and stay